Chapter 9:11. The little witch nodded excitedly, thinking that it was a very interesting thing. At this time, the people around them were almost done. They set up camp by the river, and Tu Jiao and the others had caught a large number of hares and fresh fish, waiting for Qin Haodong to cook. Since he was in a hurry to help the three-legged golden toad advance, Qin Haodong quickly prepared dinner. After a simple bite, he was ready to leave with the little witch. At this time, Zhao Xingyue pulled his arm and whispered, "Brother Qin, I feel that I am about to break through." Ah! Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He felt her genuine qi was thick and active, a sign that she was about to break through. A month ago, this girl had just taken the void-breaking pill he refined and had already advanced to a level. Generally speaking, the void-breaking pill couldn't be taken continuously in a short period of time, and even if it was taken, it wouldn't have much effect. He didn't expect that this girl was about to break through again without taking any elixirs. This kind of talent was really enviable. It was a pity that this girl was too timid and didn't have the courage to make a move even though she had broken through. "Well, you can break through now. I'll protect you." Qin Haodong took Zhao Xingyue to an open space nearby and stood there to protect her. The little girl began to sit cross-legged on the ground and run her cultivation method to break through. This immediately attracted the attention of others. Feng Qiong sighed and said, "Sister Xingyue's talent is so good. I didn't expect that she would break through to the late stage of void training realm so soon." Yu Wanjian curled his lips and said, "What's the use of that? No matter how high her cultivation is, she's still a coward." Hearing this guy belittling Zhao Xingyue, the little witch suddenly exploded, "Do you have a conscience? Have you forgotten who was chased like a dog by a dog? How dare you slander my companion? You have the guts, but why did you shout for help? Why did you ask us for help?" Yu Wanjian looked down on Zhao Xingyue from the bottom of his heart, so he couldn't help but say that. He didn't expect that the little witch would react so violently. She was blushing after a series of questions, but she couldn't refute him at all. "Humph! You'll suffer sooner or later with a useless burden." He snorted and turned to the side. The little demoness glared at him, "People like you should be bitten to death by dogs." Zhao Xingyue was completely focused on her breakthrough, so she was completely unaware of what was happening outside. About half an hour later, her aura suddenly rose, and she instantly broke through the bottleneck, reaching the late stage of the void refinement realm. Although she was timid, she was still very excited after the breakthrough. She took Qin Haodong's arm and cried, "Brother Qin, I finally broke through." Qin Haodong patted her on the shoulder and said, "It's a good thing that you've made a breakthrough. If you have the courage to make a breakthrough in the future, you'll be a perfect cultivator." Zhao Xingyue said shyly, "Brother Qin, I'll try my best. You stay here and stabilize your cultivation. I'll go out with Hongying for a while." Qin Haodong asked Feng Qiong and Yun Qianshan to take care of Zhao Xingyue. Then, he left the camp with the little she-devil and flew away. Looking at their backs, Tu Jiao said, "It's so late. What are they doing?" Yu Wanjian said, "Is there a need to ask? What else could a man and a woman do in the middle of the night? He must have done some shady business." Tu Jiao said, "Can't you put some good stuff in your head? Can you not be so filthy?" Yu Wanjian curled his lips and said, "Am I wrong? Then tell me what they're doing." Zhao Xingyue had just sat down and hadn't entered the state of cultivation when she heard Yu Wanjian slandering Qin Haodong. He said discontentedly, "You're not allowed to speak ill of Brother Qin." Yu Wanjian immediately glared at him and said, "I told you. What can a loser like you do to me?" Zhao Xingyue was so angry that her cheeks were red. But she didn't have the courage to fight back. Feng Qiong said with a cold face, You're very capable, aren't you? Since you're so powerful, why did you ask us to save you just now?" Yu Wanjian's expression froze and then he said, "I was calling the students of the South Courtyard. It has nothing to do with you. You're the one who helped me. Tu Jiaojiao's face turned cold. Yuan Jian, if you're still so shameless, get out of here. We don't welcome you here. Murong Jinghong said, if you keep acting like this, don't stay here. I hate shameless people the most in my life. Seeing that he had angered the crowd, Yuan Jian opened his mouth but didn't dare to say anything in the end. After all, once he left the crowd in this mountain, there was no telling what kind of danger he would encounter. After what had happened just now, he was really scared and didn't have the courage to leave anymore. Qin Haodong took the little she-devil to a small valley not far away and set up several magic formations in the valley. Then, he took out a large number of medicinal materials from his storage ring and refined a furnace of elixirs. When this elixir came out of the furnace, it didn't have the special fragrance of other elixirs. On the contrary, it was filled with a foul smell. The little she-devil asked, "Little brother, what elixir are you refining? Why does it smell so bad?" Qin Haodong said, "This elixir is called Enchanting Beast Elixir. It smells bad to us, but magical beasts like it very much. If you summon a high-level magical beast later, feed it this elixir, and the three-legged golden toad will be able to kill it." "Oh." The little she-devil nodded and asked, "Can I open the living spirit gate now?" "Okay, it's done." Qin Haodong put away the elixir and summoned the three-legged golden toad from the spirit beast bag. The little she-devil activated the crystal ball and the living spirit gate slowly opened. Qin Haodong quietly watched from the side, wanting to see what kind of magical beast this unreliable summoner could summon. After the simple and unadorned door opened, suddenly there was an earth-shattering roar from inside, and then a huge figure rushed out. Howl, that thing was 10 feet tall, and its body was huge. After it came out, it looked up to the sky and let out a long roar, causing the surrounding mountains to tremble. My God, it turned out to be the Earth Bear, a rank 8 magical beast. Qin Haodong was shocked. A rank 8 magical beast was equivalent to a master of the great vehicle stage. As soon as it appeared, it brought a huge pressure. If it wasn't for the little she-devil being able to control this magical beast, she would definitely run as far as possible. At the same time, he was also speechless. This summoner was really too unreliable. When it was necessary to fight, he would either summon sheep or piglet. Now that there was no need to fight, he summoned such a powerful existence. Behave yourself. The little she-devil scolded the Earth Bear, and then turned to Qin Haodong and said, "Little brother, will this work?" Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "This definitely won't work. Its level is too high. Once it gets angry, I'm afraid we won't be able to control it. It's better to send it back." "Okay then." The little she-devil reluctantly sent the Earth Bear back to the living spirit gate. After re-preparing for 10 minutes, the little she-devil summoned the Holy Spirit Gate again. This time, the gate opened and a colorful rooster flew out. Although this thing was not a species that should exist on Earth, it was definitely not a powerful magical beast. Qin Haodong patted his forehead and said with annoyance, "You're either too strong or too weak. Can't you summon something more reliable?" The little she-devil said with a smile, "I can't help it, I can only rely on luck." Another 10 minutes later, she opened the living spirit gate again. This time, 3 shadows came out in a row. They were the 6th grade magical beasts, Gale Wolves. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. The three-legged golden toad was now a 6th grade magical beast, so using a 6th grade magical beast to help it advance was just right. It saved him the trouble of using the enchanting beast pill. Kiki, after seeing the 3 Gale Wolves, the three-legged golden toad let out an excited roar. The 3 Gale Wolves were originally very excited to suddenly come to this world, but when they felt the dragon bloodline of the three-legged golden toad, they immediately trembled in fear. The three-legged golden toad did not hesitate and fiercely pounced over. Its big tongue rolled up and swallowed the 3 Gale Wolves together. Next, 2 people and 1 beast began the hunt. The little she-devil was responsible for summoning, while Qin Haodong and the three-legged golden toad were responsible for hunting. 2 hours later, the three-legged golden toad had swallowed more than a dozen 6th-grade magical beasts, more than 20 5th-grade magical beasts, and countless small magical beasts. But the level of these magical beasts was too low. Although it ate a lot, there was still no sign of advancement. Just then, another summoning was completed. The living spirit gate slowly opened, and a scorching wave of air came from inside. Howl! With a roar, a fiery red lion rushed out of the living spirit gate. It was a 7th-grade magical beast, Flaming Lion. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. He knew that eating a 7th-grade magical beast would definitely be beneficial to the three-legged golden toad. However, the three-legged golden toad was a level lower than the Flaming Lion, so it was impossible to directly swallow it. It was time to use the enchanting beast pill. Qin Haodong threw a piece of meat with extra ingredients to the Flaming Lion. The Flaming Lion let out a roar and swallowed the meat without hesitation. After only a few minutes, it fell to the ground with a plop and fell asleep. According to Qin Haodong's plan, he should kill the lion first, and then let the three-legged golden toad do it. Unexpectedly, the three-legged golden toad seemed to be impatient. It directly stuck out its tongue and swallowed the Flaming Lion. That works? Qin Haodong couldn't help but click his tongue. It was indeed a spiritual beast with the bloodline of the dragon clan. It was really a bit too strong. After the three-legged golden toad swallowed the Flaming Lion, its momentum increased greatly. It seemed that it had gained a lot. The second golden pattern on its head became more solid, but it was still a little bit away from advancing to a 7th-grade magical beast. The whole night passed. When the sun rose the next day, the three-legged golden toad ate countless magical beasts of all sizes. Finally, it ate a 7th-grade magical beast and broke through instantly. It finally completed its advancement. Great! Feeling the power of the three-legged golden toad, Qin Haodong was overjoyed. He put the guy into the spirit beast bag, patted the little she-devil's shoulder, and said, "You've helped me a lot today." The little she-devil giggled and said, "Then how will you thank me? What delicious food do you want to eat? I'll make it for you right away." Unexpectedly, the little she-devil shook her head and said, "I don't want delicious food this time." Qin Haodong was extremely surprised. He didn't know why the foodie little she-devil suddenly changed her temper. He asked, "Then what do you want?" Under the golden morning light, the little she-devil's cheeks had an extremely rare blush. She said with a little shyness, "I want you to kiss me." That's not very good." In the past, the little she-devil had always been laughing and full of enchantment. Although she took the initiative to give kisses several times, Qin Haodong just thought that she was acting like a child and didn't take it seriously. But now that she took the initiative to ask for a kiss, it meant something different. "What's wrong with it? Are you going to do it or not?" "This," Qin Haodong said, "can you change the condition?" Chapter 9:12. Seeing that he didn't agree, the little she-devil's face suddenly darkened. She pouted and said, "You don't agree, do you? When we get back to the academy, I'll tell Grandma your secret and say that you lied to her." Qin Haodong was suddenly scared. If he really fell into the hands of that unreasonable old lady, he was not sure what she would do. She might even send him to the palace to be a eunuch. "Okay, I'll do it." Qin Haodong had no choice but to hold the little she-devil in his arms and kiss her delicate red lips. On the other side of the camp, the two people didn't return all night. Others didn't have much reaction, but Zhao Xingyue was completely panicked. She took Fang Qiong's hand and said, "Sister Fang, why hasn't Brother Qin come back yet? Did something happen to him?" Fang Qiong said, "Don't worry. Your brother Qin will be fine with his ability. They must be doing something important." For some reason, she had an inexplicable trust in Qin Haodong. Hearing their conversation, Yuan Jian didn't say anything, but he secretly cursed in his heart, "They'd better die outside and never come back." Zhao Xingyue said worriedly, but we're about to set off. Why haven't they come back yet? Just then, two small black spots appeared in the sky and flew over quickly. Brother Qin is back. Zhao Xingyue immediately jumped up in excitement. She rose into the air and flew in the direction of the two people. However, the expression on Zhao Xingyue's face instantly disappeared when she saw the appearance of the two people. They were not Qin Haodong and the little she-devil, but two men, one old and one young. The old man looked to be about 60 years old. He carried a long sword on his back and exuded a powerful aura. Next to him was a man about 30 years old. He looked a bit handsome, but there was a wretched look in his eyes. Since they were not looking for Brother Qin, Zhao Xingyue turned around and flew back. At the same time, the two people also saw Zhao Xingyue. When he saw her pretty face, the young man's eyes immediately lit up and a lewd smile appeared on his face. Little girl, don't run. Since we've met, it's fate. How about playing with Big Brother? Zhao Xingyue was originally very timid. Hearing the young man's words, she knew that she had met a bad guy. She panicked and fled in the direction of the camp. Father, this little girl is mine. The young man shouted and quickly chased after him. The old man smiled slightly and didn't have any intention of stopping him. He followed behind the young man unhurriedly. Sister Fang, save me. Zhao Xingyue ran back to the campsite in a panic and threw herself into Fang Qiong's arms. At this time, everyone also saw the father and son pair following closely behind. Tu Jiaojiao stepped forward and asked, "Who are you guys? What do you want?" The young man stopped and said proudly, "My name is Xiahou Zhen. This is my father, Xiahou Hongfei. My uncle is the general of Jinma City, Xiahou Hongxiang." After hearing his identity, everyone present was stunned. The Golden Horse City was famous in Black Tortoise Kingdom, second only to the royal capital. Stupa Mountain was also under the jurisdiction of the Golden Horse City. This guy was actually the nephew of the great general Xiahou Hongxiang. Seeing everyone's shocked expressions, Xiahou Zhen said proudly, "Now you know who I am, right? Hurry up and hand over that girl to this young master." Yun Qianqian said, "Mr. Xiahou, may I ask what my sister has done to offend you? Why should I hand her over to you?" Xiahou Zhen said, "No reason. It's just that she's lucky. I like her and want to choose her as my 13th concubine." Zhao Xingyue grabbed Fang Qiong's arm nervously and said, "Sister Fang, I don't like this person. Please don't hand me over to him. Don't be afraid. With us here, no one can take you away." Fang Qiong comforted Zhao Xingyue and turned to Xiahou Zhen and said, "Mr. Xiahou, we are students of Black Tortoise Academy. We are still young and not at the age to talk about marriage, so we can't accept your kindness." Although her words were implicit, she also pointed out their identities. In Black Tortoise Kingdom, Black Tortoise Academy had an extremely high status. Not only did it have many masters, but many of the kingdom's generals also came from Black Tortoise Academy. Although Xiahou Zhen's uncle was a great general, Black Tortoise Academy was not a pushover. Unfortunately, Xiahou Zhen was used to being a playboy and didn't listen to these words. In his eyes, there were only women. "I don't care who you are. In any case, I like that girl. Hurry up and hand her over, or I won't be polite anymore." Murong Jinghong said angrily, "What are you doing? Are you trying to snatch her away?" "You're right. I'm trying to snatch her away. What can you do?" Xiahou Zhen said arrogantly. "Cut the crap, or else I'll snatch you away as well." Murong Jinghong unsheathed the startling sword on his back and said angrily, "You dare?" Xiahou Zhen said proudly, "In the territory of Golden Horse City, there's nothing I, young Master Xiahou, don't dare to do. Not to mention that you are just students of Black Tortoise Academy, even the Emperor of Heaven can't do it." At this moment, Xiahou Hongfei, who was standing behind them, spoke. You kids are really insensible. It's her good fortune that my son has taken a fancy to that girl. If you have any excuses, get out of my way. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Speaking of this, he suddenly unleashed his aura, revealing that he was an expert at the form synthesis stage. In Black Tortoise Academy, the highest cultivation level was at the late stage of void training. Now that they had suddenly encountered an expert at the form synthesis stage, everyone's expression became grave. Senior Xiahou, are you trying to bully the weak? It was Zhong Xiaodai who spoke. She strode forward and stood next to Zhao Xinyue. Even though she was facing a powerful expert at the form synthesis stage, there was no fear in her eyes. Xiahou Hongfei sneered, I didn't want to bully the weak, but you guys don't know what's good for you. As long as you hand over that girl, I won't make things difficult for you. Fang Qiong'er said coldly, dream on. We won't hand Sister Xinyue over to you. Even though she knew that she was no match for them, her tone was extremely firm. Qin Haodong had handed Zhao Xinyue over to them, and they would protect Zhao Xinyue even at the cost of their lives. Yun Qianqian, Murong Jinghong, and the others also said, we will never hand her over. Xiahou Hongfei's expression changed, and he said fiercely, a bunch of reckless kids. Let me tell you, as long as it's my son's request, you must fulfill it. Hand over that girl today, and you can leave alive. Otherwise, all of you will die here. After saying that, his murderous aura rose again, and he was about to attack. Murong Jinghong and the others also drew their weapons, ready to fight at any time. At this moment, Tu Jiaojiao said, Senior Xiahou, can you let us discuss it? Xiahou Zhen said proudly, sure, you can discuss it. You'd better not offend my father, or you'll all suffer. He did not take the people in front of him seriously at all. Although there were only 2 of them, the number of people was not the deciding factor in a battle between cultivators. In the end, it was all about cultivation. Xiahou Hongfei had reached the early stage of form synthesis, and he was also an expert at the late stage of void training, so he had an absolute advantage in terms of strength. Tu Jiaojiao gathered Murong Jinghong, Zhong Xiaodai, and Yuan Jian, who had reached the late stage of void training, and said in a low voice, let's discuss how we should deal with this. Yuan Jian said indifferently, what's there to argue about? The Xiahou father and son are not here for us. As long as we hand over that trash, everything will be fine. Murong Jinghong was furious. Yuan Jian, what nonsense are you talking about? Zhao Xinyue is our companion. How can we give her away so easily? Qin Haodong entrusted Zhao Xinyue to us before he left. If we hand her over, how can we explain it to Qin Haodong? Yuan Jian said disdainfully, companion. She's just a useless trash. We don't have to offend the Xiahou father and son for her. Besides, who is that Qin brat? We don't owe him anything, so why should we explain it to him? Murong Jinghong said angrily, Yuan Jian, do you still have a conscience? Qin Haodong saved you twice and healed your injuries. How dare you say you don't owe him anything? Okay, I don't want to argue with you about this. Yuan Jian waved his hand impatiently and said, the problem now is that we can't help even if we want to. Xiahou Hongxiang is the general of the Galloping Horse City, and we can't afford to offend him. Moreover, Xiahou Hongfei has reached the form synthesis stage. None of us is a match for him. Tu Jiaojiao said angrily, you're a man. Why don't you have any sense of responsibility? Are you afraid of an expert? As she rebuked him angrily, she thought of the saying, a man has the responsibility to protect a woman. This guy in front of her was known as the top expert of the South Courtyard, but he was much weaker than Qin Haodong. Yuan Jian said, it's not a matter of being afraid. The current situation is right in front of us. He's an expert at the form synthesis stage. What can we do? Tu Jiaojiao said, I have an idea. We can fight him. Zhong Xiaodai said, no matter what, we can't hand her over. We have to try as long as there's a way. Tu Jiaojiao said, now the four of us have reached the late stage of the void refinement stage. Although we're not as strong as Xiahou Hongfei, we can fight him together. If we block Xiahou Hongfei, the others can work together to subdue Xiahou Zhen. As long as we get the hostage, we won't be afraid of Xiahou Zhen and his son anymore. Murong Jinghong said, that's a good idea. We can give it a try. Zhong Xiaodai nodded and said, I think it's a good idea too. Yu Wanjian spread his hands and said, since you've decided, I don't care. Then it's settled. Let's go and stall Xiahou Hongfei now. Then, Tu Jiaojiao turned around and walked back, followed by Zhong Xiaodai and Murong Jinghong. As soon as I took a few steps, Murong Jinghong felt numb all over and lost his strength. Then, he was held in someone's arms and retreated quickly. She looked back and saw that it was Yu Wanjian who had taken her. She said angrily, bastard. What are you doing? Let me go. Yu Wanjian said with a despicable smile, Fairy Murong, you're the woman I like. How can I just watch you die? Tu Jiaojiao and Zhong Xiaodai also noticed the change behind them. Tu Jiaojiao said angrily, Yu Wanjian, let go of Murong Jinghong now. Yu Wanjian sneered and said, Tu Jiaojiao, they say that those with big breasts have no brains. I think you're right. I don't mind if you guys want to die, but don't drag me and my woman down with you. Boolsh *T. Who's your woman? Let me go now. Murong Jinghong was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. She couldn't wait to kill Yu Wanjian right now. Unfortunately, her acupoints were restricted and she couldn't exert any strength. Chapter 9:13. Yu Wanjian ignored the furious Murong Jinghong and retreated to the side with her. At the same time, he said to the other students, Old Master Xiahou is an expert at the form synthesis stage. You can't fight him at all. If you know what's good for you, retreat to the side with me. I believe that Old Master Xiahou has the demeanor of a senior and won't make things difficult for you. Xiahou Hongfei was delighted to see that someone had suddenly jumped out to stand on his side. Although he had reached the form synthesis stage, it wouldn't be easy for him to deal with these students if they banded together. Now that they had split into two camps, it would be much easier. He nodded with a smile. Not bad, young man. You're knowledgeable. The same goes for the others. As long as you all retreat to the side, I won't make things difficult for you. Yu Wanjian shouted again, did you hear that? Hurry up and come to my side, especially the students of the South Campus. We don't know that trash at all, so we don't have to risk our lives for her. With the two of them echoing each other, the four students of the South Campus that Yu Wanjian had brought immediately retreated to his side. The four people that Tu Jiaojiao brought hesitated for a moment and also retreated. Even Xiao Yulong and Xuepan walked behind Yu Wanjian. After all, Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen weren't ghost slaves. They really didn't have to risk their lives for a stranger like Zhao Xingyue. You people are not men. Tu Jiaojiao was about to go crazy with anger. She didn't expect her students to be so irresponsible. With 10 people gone, Zhao Xingyue's side immediately seemed empty. Zhong Xiaodai shouted with a long sword in her hand, I don't care about others. If you want to take Sister Xingyue away, you'll have to go through me first. Tu Jiaojiao also shouted harshly, and me. As long as I'm here, I won't let you hurt the junior sisters of the academy. Xiahou Zhen curled his lips and sneered. Two women who overestimate themselves. You want to fight against my father? You're dreaming. Since you two don't know what's good for you, I'll take you back with me. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me. You're courting death. Shall I kill you first? Tu Jiaojiao shouted angrily and pounced on Xiahou Zhen with Zhong Xiaodai. Now that they had lost Murong Jinghong and Yu Wanjian, the two void training stage experts, the plan they had just formulated was no longer possible to succeed. They could only change their strategy and charge at Xiahou together. As long as he could capture him, he would be able to resolve the current crisis. It was a pity that Xiahou Hongfei, who was at the form synthesis stage, was standing beside him. "You're overestimating yourself, little girl." Scram! Xiahou Hongfei suddenly appeared in front of Xiahou. He raised his sleeve and shook it lightly. An invisible force sent the two girls flying. Xiahou laughed complacently. "Now you know that you are like a mantis trying to stop a chariot, right? You girls want to fight against my father? Dream on." Xiahou Hongfei placed his hands behind his back and said in an imposing manner, "Today, my son can do whatever he wants. I'll kill whoever dares to resist." The father and son were so pleased with themselves that they didn't notice that two black shadows had already arrived behind them. When Qin Haodong and the little demon girl came back, they saw the situation in front of them and immediately understood what had happened. Qin Haodong didn't expect that someone would bully him and try to take Zhao Xingyue away just after he left for one night. Qin Haodong's killing intent surged. "Go to hell, you old man." He didn't use the great primordial explosion pill as his trump card. Instead, he directly summoned the 7th grade magical beast, the three-legged golden toad. Ku, the three-legged golden toad seemed to have sensed the anger in its master's heart. After it appeared, it did not hesitate to slap Xiahou Hongfei with its huge front claw. Xiahou Hongfei, who was acting tough, felt that something was wrong. He turned around and a huge claw came crashing down like a mountain. He was immediately scared out of his wits. The genuine qi in his body ran wildly as he desperately punched out with his palms. The three-legged golden toad, which had the bloodline of the dragon clan, was now an invincible existence among the 7th grade magical beasts. Its strength was not inferior to an expert at the peak of the form synthesis stage. It was not something that Xiahou Hongfei, who was at the early stage of the form synthesis stage, could fight against. Crack, crack, with the crisp sound of bones breaking, Xiahou Hongfei's arm was immediately smashed into 4 pieces. Then, there was another loud bang. The three-legged golden toad's foot did not stop at all. It directly smashed Xiahou Hongfei to the ground and smashed him into a pool of mud. Seeing Xiahou Hongfei's flesh and blood flowing out along the three-legged golden toad's huge foot, everyone was scared out of their wits. No one had expected Qin Haodong to rush back at this time, nor did they expect him to have such a powerful beast. Yu Wanjian and the others were originally standing at the side, watching the show with gloating eyes. They had originally thought that Tu Jiaojiao and the others were bound to suffer a great loss, but they did not expect Qin Haodong to suddenly appear out of nowhere. Even Xiahou Hongfei, who was the strongest among them, had died so miserably. "Big brother Qin, you're back." Zhao Xingyue cried out and threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms. She was really scared to death just now. Only by being by this man's side could she feel safe. "Don't be afraid. With me here, no one can touch you." Qin Haodong comforted Zhao Xingyue and turned to look at Xiahou. You, young Master Xiahou, who had been extremely arrogant just now, was now scared out of his wits. His father, who had always been protective of him, had been killed. He no longer had anyone to rely on. The little she-devil put her hands on her hips and looked at him angrily. "You want to steal my sister Xingyue with your cowardly appearance? Are you tired of living?" Xiahou took a few steps back and shouted in a threatening manner, "Let me tell you, my uncle is the general of Golden Horse City, Xiahou Hongxiang. Now that you've killed my father, my uncle will not let you off. You're really stupid." Qin Haodong looked at him contemptuously and said, "What's your purpose in saying this? What other purpose do you have other than for me to kill you? Don't kill me, please don't kill me. As long as you let me go, I'll ask my uncle to let you off," Xiahou said, trembling with fear. "You're a fool, but don't think that everyone else is a fool." Of course, Qin Haodong did not believe Xiahou's words. Since he had already killed Xiahou Hongfei, he had already formed an irreconcilable enmity with Xiahou Hongxiang. Letting Xiahou Zhen go would only add another enemy. He waved his hand, and the three-legged golden toad slapped down again, smashing Xiahou Zhen into meat paste. Seeing that the crisis had been resolved, Tu Jiaojiao let out a long sigh of relief. She stepped forward and said, "Brother Qin, fortunately you came back in time. Otherwise, we would have been in big trouble today." Qin Haodong asked, "What the hell is going on?" Fang Qiong told him what had happened from beginning to end, and finally said, "That bastard Yuan Jian not only didn't help us, but also kidnapped Morong Jinghong. We must not let him go." Qin Haodong's face instantly turned cold. He had saved this guy time and time again, but not only did he not feel grateful, but he also made trouble for him again and again. It was time to settle the score. However, when he turned his head, Yuan Jian and the other 8 students had disappeared, leaving only Morong Jinghong, whose acupoints had been sealed, standing there. The little she-devil cursed angrily, "Bastard, you really ran away fast." When Qin Haodong killed Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen in succession, Yuan Jian had already realized that the situation was not good and ran away without hesitation. The other 8 students also knew that it would not end well if they stayed, so they also left. Compared to Xiahou Zhen, Yuan Jian was more scheming. He knew that if he took Morong Jinghong away, he would definitely be hunted by Qin Haodong, so he sealed her mute acupoints and stayed there. Qin Haodong went over to unseal her acupoints and asked, "Fairy Morong, are you all right?" Morong Jinghong said angrily, "I'm fine. It's a pity that the bastard Yuan Jian ran away. Don't worry. It's not that the time hasn't come yet. People like him will be punished sooner or later." Qin Haodong said to Tu Jiaojiao, Zhong Xiaodai, Morong Jinghong, and the others, "Thank you for helping me." Morong Jinghong said, "We are all classmates in the same college. It's our duty to help you." Zhong Xiaodai said, "Brother Qin, you don't have to be so polite with me. You saved my life, so it's natural for me to do something for you." Tu Jiaojiao said, "There's no need to thank me. I'm all alone now. It seems that I can only follow you in the future." Qin Haodong said, "Since we are out of the Black Tortoise College, there is no distinction between the South and North colleges. We are all classmates, so there's no need to be polite." After the matter was settled, everyone simply packed up their equipment and rushed in the direction of Stupa Mountain. As soon as they left, 2 figures appeared on a big tree behind them. They were the 2 deputy deans of the Black Tortoise College, Luo Dongqing and Hai Jingming. Now that the Ghost King sect had suddenly appeared, as the person in charge of the Black Tortoise College, they certainly couldn't ignore their students. Especially Luo Dongqing, her own granddaughter was outside. If she lost even a hair, she might not be able to explain it to the protective old lady when she returned. Ever since Qin Haodong and the others left the Black Tortoise College, the 2 had been secretly protecting them. However, they wouldn't help unless they had no other choice. Hai Jingming said, "I couldn't help but help just now. I didn't expect this little guy to suddenly come back and even bring a 7th grade magical beast. This magical beast of his is really strong. Even with my cultivation at the late stage of form synthesis, I'm afraid I don't have much chance of winning against it. I really don't know where he found such a treasure. This kid has indeed exceeded my expectations." Luo Dongqing smacked her tongue. That 3-legged toad was a 5th grade magical beast before. How did it suddenly become a 7th grade magical beast? It's really confusing. Hai Jingming said, "It seems that he didn't go out with Honging last night, but to help this magical beast improve its cultivation." Luo Dongqing nodded. After Qin Haodong left yesterday, they also followed to see, but Qin Haodong set up an invisible formation, so they didn't see what happened inside. Hai Jingming said, "But it's a bit troublesome now. Qin Haodong killed Xiahou Hongfei. With the Xiahou family's virtue, they definitely won't let it go." Luo Dongqing snorted coldly, "What are you afraid of?" Is our Black Tortoise College afraid of Jin Ma Cheng? I'm not afraid, but it's a bit troublesome. Hai Jingming said, that Yuan Jian of the South College is so hateful. How dare he treat people of his college like this again and again? I originally thought he was talented and could be molded, but I didn't expect his character to be so bad. Luo Dongqing said with a sullen face, this kind of person can't be left alive. When I go back, I'll tell the old woman and ask her to teach this guy a lesson. Hai Jingming curled his lips and said, Old Luo, don't talk big. Everyone knows that you are a real henpecked man. You don't even dare to breathe when you get home. Luo Dongqing's face turned red. She said, who said that? It's all a rumor. I mean what I say at home. Hai Jingming said with a playful face, come on, we've been together for so many years, who doesn't know you? The so-called mean what you say, means that your sister-in-law won't say anything, but she'll come up and slap you. Chapter 9:14. Luo Dongqing felt awkward and could only change the topic. Let's go, or we won't be able to catch up with those little guys. Hai Jingming nodded, and the two of them chased after Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong and the others flew for another half a day before they finally saw Stupa Mountain in the distance. Every time the 7th stage pagoda appeared, it would appear in a fixed valley. Everyone was already very familiar with this place. When they arrived, there were already thousands of people waiting there. They were all prepared to enter the 7th stage pagoda to train. After choosing an advantageous position, Qin Haodong asked, how big is the 7th stage pagoda? Why are there so many people here? Can we go in? Murong Jinghong said, my ancestor entered it before. According to his instructions, the 7th stage pagoda is spacious and can easily accommodate tens of thousands of people. Qin Haodong asked, how many times has the 7th stage pagoda been opened? Murong Jinghong said, I'm not too sure, but I heard that it has been opened many times. Qin Haodong said, doesn't that mean that there aren't many treasures left in the pagoda? Murong Jinghong said, it's not like that. In the past, when everyone entered the 7th stage pagoda, there were always more treasures on each floor, and the grade of the treasures was higher and higher. My ancestor obtained my startling sword from the 5th floor. The treasures on the first 5 floors have basically been plundered by everyone, but no one has been to the 6th and 7th floors. Everyone thinks that the important treasures are all up there. Therefore, every time the 7th stage pagoda appears, more and more people come here to train and search for treasures. Qin Haodong asked, did your ancestor say what the 6th floor is? Murong Jinghong said, no. Back then, my ancestor was already severely injured after obtaining the startling sword. Moreover, he was surrounded by enemies, so he immediately retreated and did not go to the 6th floor. As the two of them spoke, the little she-devil suddenly shouted, little brother, look! It's that bastard Yuan Jian. Everyone looked in the direction of her finger and saw that on the other side of the crowd, Yuan Jian had appeared with 9 other students from the southern courtyard. It seemed that they were also preparing to enter the 7th stage pagoda. Tu Jiaojiao fiercely said, that bastard, let's go and settle the score with him right now. When Qin Haodong was hesitating whether to go there or not, the earth suddenly shook wildly, and even the surrounding mountains and trees kept shaking. Fortunately, everyone was at least in the deity transformation realm. Their feet were suspended in the air, so they were not affected too much. It's the 7th level pagoda. The 7th level pagoda has appeared again. The crowd did not panic at all. On the contrary, they all shouted excitedly. Some people had been waiting here for a few days, and this moment had finally arrived. Qin Haodong said, forget it. Let's go to the tower first. We'll talk about other things later. What he wanted the most now was to obtain the treasures in the 7th floor pagoda to raise his cultivation. In comparison, a small character like Yuan Jian was insignificant. The little she-devil said angrily, that bastard got lucky. At this time, following a loud rumble, a 7-story pagoda rose from the bottom of the valley. The pagoda was about 300 meters tall. It was made of an unknown material, but there were all kinds of simple patterns carved on it. It looked simple and magnificent. Qin Haodong felt waves of magic. It seemed that the 7-floor pagoda was controlled by a formation and appeared once every 30 years. Not to mention anything else, just this array formation was absolutely breathtaking. The ground only calmed down after the 7-floor pagoda completely appeared in front of everyone. There was a huge gate at the bottom of the pagoda. It was 7 or 8 meters tall and more than 10 meters wide. Its scale was not inferior to the gate of a small city. Everyone, get ready. The gate of the pagoda is about to open. Amid the shouts of the crowd, the gate of the 7-floor pagoda slowly opened, revealing a pitch-black space. Although they couldn't see what was inside, they still rushed in without hesitation. The little she-devil cried out excitedly, "Little brother, let's go in quickly. The treasures will be gone if we're late." Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. Treasures depend on fate. It's not something that can be obtained by whoever takes it first. Besides, it's not the first time this pagoda has been opened. The treasures at the bottom have already been taken by others." Murong Jinghong said, "Haodong is right. The treasures in the pagoda are not that easy to take. According to my ancestor, the first floor of the 7-floor pagoda is an illusion. Once you enter, you must guard your heart. Otherwise, you will be unable to extricate yourself from the illusion. After 3 days, the pagoda will sink into the ground again. If you can't get out of the illusion, only death awaits you." Qin Haodong took out the 10-meter mortal dust from his ring and tied it together. He said to everyone, "We're not sure what's going on inside. Everyone, tie this to yourselves so that you don't get separated." Everyone nodded and tied the 10-meter mortal dust to their waists. They formed a string and flew toward the pagoda. While they were talking, the thousands of cultivators who had been guarding outside had all rushed into the pagoda. But even so, when they entered, they did not see a single person. The little she-devil asked in surprise, "That's strange. Where did so many people go?" After she finished speaking, she found that there was no movement around her. No one answered her question. She looked around and found that it was empty. Even the 10-meter mortal dust around her waist had disappeared. At that moment, Qin Haodong suddenly appeared in front of her and pulled her into his arms. He suddenly appeared in front of her and pulled her into his arms. He stared into her eyes and asked, "Tell me, do you like me or not?" Seeing his affectionate eyes, the little she-devil's heart trembled. She said shyly, "Little brother, why are you asking me this?" Qin Haodong said, "If you like me, let's leave together. Don't look for the 7-floor pagoda anymore. Find a place with beautiful scenery. We'll live happily for the rest of our lives and have many children. Are you willing to marry me?" I'm willing," the little she-devil said in a low voice. Qin Haodong said, "Since you're willing, let's go. I've already found a place to stay. Let's go and get married now." After saying that, he picked up the little she-devil. The two quickly left the 7-floor pagoda and came to a place with beautiful scenery. Qin Haodong entered the 7-floor pagoda and walked forward carefully. "Papa, Papa, I found you." With a sweet cry, the little fellow suddenly rushed over and burrowed into Qin Haodong's arms. Her two little hands tightly hugged his neck. "Tang Tang, why are you here?" Qin Haodong asked in surprise. After leaving Earth for so long, he really missed his daughter. "I've been waiting for you for so long, but you didn't come home. Mama and I came to find you," the little fellow said as she looked back. Lin Momo was looking at her with watery eyes. "Haodong, it's been so long. Why haven't you come back yet? Honey, I've missed you so much. Hurry up and hug me." Hu Shaoxian ran over first and threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms. "Hubby, I'll sing you a song, okay." Ouyang Feifei also appeared in front of him and sang loudly. Honey, look at the new dance I learned. Is it beautiful? Amidst the sweet singing, Zhao Qingwu twisted her sexy body and danced. Son, Mom is here to see you. Hurry up and go home with Mom, Chu Xianyue called out to him softly. For a moment, all the people close to him appeared in front of him. Qin Haodong could not help but burst into tears. These were all the people he loved the most. Go back, I'll go back with you now. Just as Qin Haodong was about to leave with his family, his heart suddenly moved. Murong Jinghong's words rang in his ears. The first floor of the 7th-floor pagoda is an illusion. After entering, you must guard your heart. Alas! He originally had an extremely powerful spirit. At this moment, he immediately regained his clarity and knew that everything in front of him was fake. Earth was very far away from him, and it was impossible for his family to come here. Papa, why don't you go home with me? Haodong, come with me. I miss you so much, honey, come home with me. Around him, his loved ones called out to him one after another. Qin Haodong sighed again. With a thought, the golden light in front of him suddenly expanded, and the demon-vanquishing wand appeared in front of him. The demon-vanquishing wand was indeed a Buddhist divine artifact. It could dispel all inner demons. When it appeared, the illusion in front of him immediately disappeared. Although he knew that it was all an illusion, it felt too real. Now that the illusion had dissipated, it evoked his infinite longing for his family. He shook his head. He knew that it was not the time to be sentimental. He stopped thinking about it and turned to look at the others. Fortunately, he had used the 10 feet of mortal world to tie everyone together, so they did not get separated. At this moment, the others were standing there with an obsessed look on their faces. Some were smiling, some were muttering to themselves. In short, they were all immersed in the illusion and had lost their own hearts. If he did not help, these people would also be able to walk out of the illusion by themselves, but it would take longer. Qin Haodong held the demon-vanquishing wand in one hand and the 10 feet of mortal world in the other. He pulled these people forward. Murong Jinghong, Luo Hongying, and the others followed behind him in a daze. They had no idea what they were doing. They were completely immersed in the illusion. After walking for about 100 meters, his vision suddenly opened up. He had completely walked out of the illusion of the 7th stage pagoda. At this moment, he had arrived at the edge of the pagoda. In front of him was a flight of stairs that seemed to lead to the 2nd floor. He looked back and saw that the thousands of people who had rushed into the pagoda were all immersed in the illusion. Some were dancing, some were laughing, and some were crying. He sighed inwardly. The illusion here was indeed very clever. It could evoke the inner demons in the depths of one's heart. Whatever one wanted the most, it would appear. Little brother, don't go. Luo Hongying shouted. She then came back to her senses and looked at the empty surroundings. She asked in surprise, where am I? Qin Haodong said, this is the 1st floor of the 7th stage pagoda. We were all immersed in the illusion just now. I brought you out. Ah. It's an illusion. It's all fake. The little she-devil had completely regained her senses. When she thought of the scene in the illusion, her cheeks instantly turned as red as a big apple. In the illusion just now, she had already bowed to heaven and earth with Qin Haodong and walked into the bridal chamber hand in hand. Seeing that the two of them were about to consummate their marriage, yet they were brought out, she felt a faint sense of regret. Qin Haodong looked at her and asked, what did you see just now? Why did you call my name? Ah. Oh, I didn't see anything. I just casually called out. Although the little she-devil had a demonic nature, she was too embarrassed to talk about her experience in the illusion. As the two of them spoke, the others also walked out of the illusion and regained their senses. In order to ease the awkwardness, the little she-devil grabbed Zhao Xingyue's hand and said, Sister Xingyue, tell me what you saw just now. Chapter 9:15. I. I won't tell you. Zhao Xingyue glanced at Qin Haodong secretly, and her delicate cheeks were instantly flushed. The little witch took her hand and said with a smile, "Why don't you tell me? What's there to be embarrassed about? I just won't tell you." Zhao Xingyue left the little witch and held Qin Haodong's arm tightly. Unlike before, she looked extremely shy and didn't even have the courage to look at Qin Haodong. "Well, stop it. Let's hurry up." After Qin Haodong said that, he untied the 10 feet of mortal world from everyone and took the lead to walk forward. Suddenly, he found that Tu Jiaojiao, who had been walking in front of everyone, fell behind them and looked extremely strange. "Senior sister, what's wrong with you? It's none of your business." Tu Jiaojiao blushed even more and glared at Qin Haodong. Among them, she was a commoner and had experienced more things, so it was relatively more complicated. The illusion she saw just now was not only related to Qin Haodong, but also larger than that of the little witch. After the whole mysterious thing between a man and a woman, it was so wet and cold that she felt very uncomfortable. This also made her very nervous. She was afraid of being seen by others, so she had been hiding behind. When no one was paying attention, she secretly reached out and touched the robe outside her buttocks. When she found that it was still dry, she was relieved. "It's all because of this bad guy that I saw such an unbearable thing." Tu Jiaojiao thought angrily in her heart. Qin Haodong didn't know this and said strangely, "Senior sister, I just saved you. It's okay if you don't thank me, but why do you look like you've eaten gunpowder? I can get out by myself without your help." Thinking of the scene just now, Tu Jiaojiao became more and more shy. She strode forward and ignored Qin Haodong. Although the other women didn't reach the level of Tu Jiaojiao, the illusion they just encountered was more or less related to Qin Haodong. At this time, they also looked shy and walked forward without saying a word. Qin Haodong asked, "Where are you going? Shouldn't you be looking for treasures now?" "Oh." Everyone came to their senses and began to search for treasures on the first floor of the Buddha Tower. Qin Haodong shook his head in surprise. "It's just an illusion. What's the big deal? What's wrong with them?" Everyone searched around the first level and found traces of many treasures. However, they had all been taken, and nothing was found. The little witch said, "Let's hurry up and go up. The good stuff must be up there." Murong Jinghong had just calmed down from the illusion. He glanced at Qin Haodong and said, "That's true. The first level is the most visited by cultivators, so there won't be anything good left. Let's hurry up and go up." Qin Haodong nodded and led everyone to the stairs on the second floor. Because they were the first group of people to leave the illusion, no other cultivators had arrived, so the second level was quiet. It looked extremely spacious, and it was so quiet that it made one's heart palpitate. Zhao Xingyue held Qin Haodong's arm nervously and kept looking around with her big eyes. The little witch said, "Why do you care so much? Let's just go straight to the third floor." The stairs to the third floor were on the opposite side of the Buddha Tower, and they could vaguely see it from here. Everyone walked forward carefully. Seeing that they were getting closer and closer to the stairs, Fang Qiong said, "The test on the first floor is an illusion. We don't know what's on the second floor. We can't just pass it without any problems, can we?" The little witch said with a smile, "It's entirely possible. Maybe we're just lucky." As soon as she said that, a buzzing sound suddenly came. It was not very loud, but it sounded especially ear-piercing because of the extreme silence in the tower. "What's that sound?" Tu Jiaojiao suddenly pulled out the long sword in her hand and looked around nervously. Murong Jinghong's expression suddenly changed. "I remember now. It's the phantom flying ants." "Everyone, run!" Before she could finish her sentence, countless black shadows suddenly pounced towards her. Qin Haodong glanced at it and was shocked. All he saw were ants flying over. Different from the little ants on Earth, these ants were the size of a fist and were completely black. They had a pair of huge wings on their backs, 2 large pincers on their heads, and a pair of small eyes that faintly flashed with a fierce light. Fang Qiong waved the long sword in her hand and slashed at an ant. However, to everyone's surprise, the sword made a clanging sound, like the sound of metal colliding. The ant was only sent flying, but it did not suffer much damage. These ants are too powerful. I'll cover them with Murong Jinghong. Everyone, retreat quickly. Qin Haodong shouted, and the Xianyuan sword in his hand flew out, instantly crushing the flying ants that were flying at the front into powder. At the same time, Murong Jinghong also took out the startling sword. Although her sword was not as powerful as the Xianyuan sword, it could still cut through gold and jade. In an instant, countless flying ants fell to the ground. After being attacked, these ants showed no signs of retreating. On the contrary, they became even more ferocious and rushed forward even more fiercely. If it were other large magical beasts, they could still fight together, but facing these countless ants, there was no hope of winning at all. Everyone quickly retreated to the stairs under the cover of Qin Haodong and Murong Jinghong. What was surprising was that the ferocious ants immediately stopped here, as if there was a magical force restraining them. Seeing that the ants were no longer chasing them, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Fang Qiong patted her chest and said in shock, "What kind of monsters are these? Ordinary swords can't hurt them." The little witch said, "These are 4th-grade magical beasts, phantom flying ants. Although they are only 4th-grade magical beasts, their defense is extremely strong, and every time they attack, there will be thousands of them. Even 6th-grade magical beasts can only turn around and run when they encounter them. There's no way they can fight them." Although the phantom flying ants could not rush out of the restriction, they did not fly away. They kept flapping their wings, making a buzzing sound. Their blood-red eyes stared at everyone, as if they wanted to eat them up immediately. Yun Qianqian said, "Then what should we do? With so many phantom flying ants guarding here, even immortals can't get through." "I'm sorry, it's my fault." Murong Jinghong said, "In the records of our ancestors, there are countless phantom flying ants on the 2nd floor of the Buddha Pagoda, but I forgot about it just now." Speaking of this, she looked embarrassed. The reason why she had forgotten about the phantom flying ants on the 2nd floor was that she had been disturbed by the scene in the illusion just now. She blushed and her heart raced at the thought of that embarrassing scene, but she couldn't control her thoughts. She couldn't help but recall the feeling of being devoured. Tu Jiaojiao said, "Since your ancestors had records of the phantom flying ants, did they mention a way to control them?" "Yes, I made preparations in advance, but that thing is in Xiao Yulong's hands." As she said this, suddenly there was a flash of figures. Yuan Jian, Xiao Yulong, Xue Pan, and the others came up from the 1st floor. When they saw Qin Haodong and the others, they were slightly stunned. Obviously, they did not expect them to break through so quickly. "Not bad, I didn't expect you to come out of the illusion so quickly." Yuan Jian said with a smirk, "But so what? Are you stuck here and can't get through? Qin brat, aren't you very capable? How can you be blocked by these little bugs?" The little witch said angrily, "You, don't make sarcastic remarks. Show me if you have the ability. Then I'll show you." Yuan Jian looked proud as he walked past Qin Haodong and the others, heading straight in the direction of the phantom flying ants. "What's that smell? It's so smelly." They didn't feel anything when they were far away, but when they walked in front of them, they immediately exuded an unpleasant smell. All the women immediately covered their noses. However, a surprising scene happened. When Yuan Jian and the others walked in, the phantom flying ants retreated one after another, showing no intention of attacking them. After walking more than 10 meters, Yuan Jian turned around and looked at Qin Haodong, saying, "Qin brat, how was it? You didn't expect it, did you?" Before Qin Haodong could speak, Murong Jinghong said angrily, "Xiao Yulong, did you give them all the dragon ape samsara fluid I prepared?" Xiao Yulong looked guilty at first, then he said, "Fairy Murong, we're all members of the same team now, so it's only right that we give it to them. Yu Wanjian said, "That's right. It's your fault for following that brat. You deserve not to pass the second level." Xiao Yulong seemed a little guilty. He took out a small bottle with some golden liquid left in it. He said, "Fairy Murong, if you're willing to join us, there's still some dragon ape samsara fluid for you to use." Murong Jinghong said angrily, "I won't be with you, scum." Xiao Yulong said unwillingly, "Murong Jinghong, are you going to give up this opportunity for the sake of that brat?" Murong Jinghong said angrily, "Even if I die, I won't be with you people, let alone a chance to gain experience." Xiao Yulong's eyes flashed with resentment. "Murong Jinghong, since you're willing to give up, don't blame me." After saying that, the group of them wanted to walk inside. Murong Jinghong cursed angrily, "That bastard. If I had known, I wouldn't have given the dragon ape samsara fluid to him." Qin Haodong asked, "Senior, what is the dragon ape samsara fluid?" Fong Qiong said, "The smell just now was so strong. Did it come from that thing?" "That's the smell." Murong Jinghong said, "The dragon ape is a kind of 8th-rank magical beast with a trace of the dragon bloodline. These phantom flying ants are extremely ferocious. Even ordinary 8th-rank spirit beasts can't suppress them. Only the bloodline of the dragon bloodline can deter them. According to the records left by our ancestors, only those who smear the dragon ape samsara fluid on their bodies can pass the second level. I bought this bottle of dragon ape samsara fluid for 1,000 top-grade spirit stones. I didn't expect Xiao Yulong to give it to those people." Tu Jiaojiao said, "You haven't told me what the dragon ape samsara fluid is." Murong Jinghong said with some embarrassment, "Actually, it's the urine of the dragon ape." The little witch immediately pinched her nose. "It's disgusting. Even if I had it, I wouldn't use it." Fong Qiong said, "No wonder it smelled so bad. It's the dragon ape's urine. I gave it to Xiao Yulong because the smell was too strong. I didn't expect something like this to happen. Although it smelled a little strong, it's the best weapon to restrain the phantom flying ants. Now that we don't have the dragon ape samsara fluid, we can't pass the second level at all. It's all my fault." At this point, a hint of guilt flashed across Murong Jinghong's face. Chapter 9:16. The little witch said, "Sister Murong, you don't have to feel sorry. Even if I had this kind of thing, I wouldn't use it. It's disgusting to think of smearing urine on my body." Tu Jiaojiao also said, "That's true. I also don't know how to use this kind of thing." Murong Jinghong said, "Of course I hate it, but to pass the second level with the illusionary flying ants, I have to use the dragon ape samsara fluid. There's no other way." Qin Haodong asked, "Fairy Murong, do you mean that the reason why the samsara fluid of the dragon ape can restrain the illusionary flying ants is that the dragon ape has the bloodline of the dragon clan?" Murong Jinghong nodded and said, "That's indeed the case. Although the dragon ape's dragon bloodline is extremely thin, it's still a dragon bloodline that can restrain all low-level lifeforms." Qin Haodong said, "Then don't worry. We can go there even without the dragon ape samsara fluid." "That's impossible. Although my treasured sword can injure the illusionary flying ants, there are too many of them. It's impossible to forcefully attack them. Once we're halfway there, we won't be able to cross or return. When that happens, everyone will become food for the illusionary flying ants." In Murong Jinghong's opinion, Qin Haodong wanted to use the power of the sword to force his way through. Not by force, but by sitting on it. Qin Haodong said and summoned the three-legged golden toad from the spirit beast bag. This fellow possessed the Taotai bloodline, which was probably not any lower than the dragon ape's dragon race bloodline. Quack, after the three-legged golden toad came out, it faced the sky and roared. No one felt anything special about the roar, but the illusionary flying ants were scared out of their wits. They fell to the ground and flew to the side in a panic. The three-legged golden toad's dragon bloodline was much richer than the dragon ape's, so it naturally had a strong deterrent effect on the illusionary flying ants. Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. His method really worked. He said to everyone, "Everyone, get on its back. Let's go together. Little big brother, you're the best." The little demonist cheered and took the lead to jump on the back of the three-legged golden toad. The three-legged golden toad was already a Class 7 magical beast, so it did not care about the extra people on its back. It soared through the air towards the pagoda. Wherever it passed, the illusionary flying ants dodged, not having the courage to attack. The speed of the three-legged golden toad was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they had caught up with the cautious Yuan Jian, Xiao Yulong, and the others. Although Yuan Jian and company were covered in the dragon ape samsara elixir, the elixir didn't have much pressure on the illusionary flying ants due to their thin dragon bloodline. Although the illusionary flying ants didn't attack, they continued to surround them, eyeing them covetously. Under such circumstances, they weren't moving very fast. Suddenly, the illusionary flying ants flew to the side, relieving them of the pressure. Yuan Jian looked back in confusion and saw Qin Haodong and the others coming over on the three-legged golden toad. Xiao Yulong looked at Murong Jinghong in astonishment and asked, "You still have the dragon ape samsara fluid? We don't need that kind of thing. It stinks to death. Only trash like you would use it." Tu Jiaojiao covered her nose and said, "Stop talking. Let's leave quickly. These people smell so bad that we're going to die." Xiao Yulong was infuriated. He had always prided himself on being a playboy, so naturally, he wasn't willing to use the dragon ape samsara fluid. However, he had no other choice. They had to use it if they wanted to pass the second level. He said angrily, "Stop pretending. If you were useless, you would have been eaten by the illusionary flying ants." The little she-devil put her hands on her hips and said proudly, "Do you think my brother is like you? His three-legged golden toad has the dragon bloodline, so he doesn't need to eat sh*t and piss like you guys." After she said that, all the women burst into laughter and looked at Xiao Yulong and the others with ridicule. Tu Jiaojiao said to Yuan Jian, "You guys better stay away from me in the future. If you come within 3 meters of me, I'll break your legs immediately." Yun Qianqian said, "I'll never look at people who pour their urine on themselves." "Alright, let's go." Qin Haodong patted the three-legged golden toad, and everyone instantly passed the second level. "Bastard! Qin Haodong, you and I are irreconcilable." Yuan Jian's face was livid with anger. He had thought that he could make fun of Qin Haodong this time, but he didn't expect to embarrass himself again. He was drenched in the dragon ape's urine, while Qin Haodong easily passed on a divine beast and won the favor of a group of beautiful women. The gap between them was too big. Xiao Yulong said, "Don't be angry. This is only the second level. We'll have plenty of opportunities in the future." Xue Pan said, "Let's go quickly. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble when the smell of the dragon ape samsara fluid spreads." After the three-legged golden toad passed, the illusionary flying ants quickly surrounded them and looked at them with their blood-red eyes. Yuan Jian also knew that they couldn't stay here for long, so he quickly rushed to the third level with everyone. With the three-legged golden toad, Qin Haodong and the others easily passed the second level. When they stepped on the stairs to the third level, none of the illusionary flying ants around them had disappeared. The little she-devil asked, "Sister Murong, what's on the third level? Could it be a magical beast?" Murong Jinghong said seriously, "It's not a magical beast, but it's more terrifying than one." While they were talking, they had already reached the third level. What appeared in front of them was a huge skeleton legion. Among the skeletons were the skeletons of various spirit beasts, as well as the skeletons of humans wielding various types of swords and sabers. Although these skeletons stood motionless like specimens, their bodies gave off a stifling and murderous aura. "Brother Qin, I'm so scared." Zhao Xingyue grabbed Qin Haodong's arm tightly. Tu Jiaojiao said, "They're just dead things. What's there to be afraid of? Murong Jinghong said, don't underestimate them. My ancestors' notes describe the Skeleton Legion. They're dead things while we're standing here. Once we pass, they'll immediately come back to life and launch a crazy attack. Is it that powerful? Tu Jiaojiao didn't quite believe it. She tentatively walked to the skeleton of a Gale wolf next to her. As soon as she approached, before she could attack, the skeleton of the Gale wolf suddenly came back to life and pounced on her like lightning. Although it no longer had any flesh and blood, its strong bones and white teeth still brought about great pressure. Tu Jiaojiao was already prepared. She waved the long sword in her hand and slashed at the skeleton of the Gale wolf. Then, she was shocked to find that although the Gale wolf was already dead, it had an inexplicable power that could reach the strength of a 5th-grade magical beast. Come back, sister. Qin Haodong called Tu Jiaojiao back. He naturally knew that the Skeleton Legion in front of him was formed with necromancy, so their combat power was definitely not to be underestimated. These things are so powerful. Tu Jiaojiao said to Murong Jinghong, did your ancestor ever say what to do with these things? Murong Jinghong said, there's no other way. We can only gather everyone's strength and force our way through. Because of this, those who are familiar with the 7th Order Pagoda won't kill each other before the 3rd level, because we need each other's strength to pass. Tu Jiaojiao nodded and said, it seems that we can only do this. If we have enough people, we can all form a circle and work together to pass. Fang Qiong frowned and said, there are too few people now, and they're not strong enough. It seems that we can only wait for more people to come. Everyone had a look of regret on their faces. They were the first to pass, but now it seemed that they could only wait for more people to come. How is it? We can't pass, right? Do you need our help? At this moment, a pungent smell hit them in the face. Yuan Jian, Xiao Yulong, and the others had also reached the 3rd level. The little she-devil immediately covered her nose and said to them in disgust, stay away from us. You guys are too stinky. Yuan Jian's expression froze, then he said, we're all students of the same academy. We should work together to pass through the blockade of the Skeleton Legion. It seemed that this guy had done a lot of homework and was very familiar with the situation in the 7th Order Pagoda. Xiao Yulong said to Qin Haodong, no matter what grudges we had before, we must work together now. Only by working together will we have a chance to pass. He had originally thought that even if the other party had a problem with him, they would have no choice but to agree to this request. After all, in the current situation, they could only pass through by working together. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, you're thinking too much. We won't work together with you. Xiao Yulong asked in surprise, why? Qin Haodong said with a teasing expression, there's no reason. Hong Ying has already said it. It's because you guys are too stinky. You. Xiao Yulong said with a flushed face, Qin Haodong, the most important thing for us now is to pass through the 3rd level. It's not the time to be impulsive. I'm telling the truth, Qin Haodong said. I don't need to work together with you guys to pass. Why should I work together with an enemy who can stab me in the back at any time? Arrogant. Yuan Jian sneered. Perhaps you don't understand the strength of the Skeleton Legion. Although their levels are not high, with each of them looking like a magical beast of the 5th or 6th level, there are many of them and they can resurrect at any time. It's impossible to kill them all. If you don't work together with us, it's impossible for you guys to pass through on your own. Murong Jinghong came to Qin Haodong's side and said in a low voice, it's really not the time to be impulsive. We can settle the score with them later. Although Yuan Jian had a bad character, his cultivation base was at the great perfection of the void refinement realm. Together with Xiao Yulong, Xue Pan, and the other 8 students of the South Campus, the overall strength of the South Campus was very powerful and not much weaker than theirs. Xue Pan said proudly, you're acting tough now. You'll come and beg us after you suffer. You're thinking too much. We don't know who will beg who when the time comes. After Qin Haodong finished speaking, he turned around and said to everyone, everyone is ready. Let's go together. Although they didn't know what method he would use to deal with the Skeleton Legion, they all made preparations out of their trust in him. Seeing that they were all ready, Qin Haodong thought of something and took out a magic wand from his storage ring. It was a magic wand. The 7-stage pagoda suddenly shone with Buddha's light. After being illuminated by the Buddha's light, the Skeleton Legion in front of them quickly disintegrated and turned into a pile of scattered bones. The little girl cried out excitedly, "Little brother, your treasure is really powerful. It's simply the nemesis of the Skeleton Legion." Murong Jinghong also cried out in surprise, "What is this? It's really amazing." Qin Haodong smiled slightly. A magic staff was a Buddhist artifact, which was the best for dealing with undead creatures. Xiao Yulong and the others were stunned. There was no Buddhism in the Lingwu continent, so they naturally didn't know what a magic staff was. However, they could tell that it was definitely a treasure that could restrain undead creatures. Chapter 9:17. A greedy look flashed in Yu Wanjian's eyes. He made a gesture to Xiao Yulong, and then leaped toward Qin Haodong like a flash of lightning. He snatched the wand back into his hand. Qin Haodong's cultivation was only at the late stage of void training before he took the explosive yuan pill. Moreover, he was not on guard, so he was careless and was robbed. Magic staff. However, he didn't panic too much and just watched quietly. "Yu Wanjian, you bastard. How dare you rob us, bastard, hurry up and return the treasure." Tu Jiaojiao and the others saw Yu Wanjian snatch the ambush. The magic staff immediately cursed. Yu Wanjian laughed complacently and said, "Now that the treasure is mine, let's see what else you can be proud of." He turned around and said to Xiao Yulong and the others, "Let's go." Seeing that Yu Wanjian had succeeded, the others were also overjoyed and rushed towards the skeleton core, not noticing the ambush at this moment. The wand no longer emitted any Buddhist light. It was no different from an ordinary iron rod. Ah, what's going on? When they rushed into the Skeleton Legion, they were immediately attacked by the surrounding undead creatures. Only then did Yu Wanjian notice the abnormality of the exorcism wand in his hand. However, in the face of so many undead creatures, he couldn't care less. He tossed his magic staff aside and drew the sword on his back. After a fierce fight, the dozen of them finally retreated. However, they were beaten to the point that they had thrown away their helmets and armor and were in a sorry state. Ambush. The wand was tossed into the Skeleton Legion. However, it was a sacred object of Buddhism, so the undead creatures instinctively kept their distance from it. Qin Haodong stretched out his hand and waved. The wand flew into his hand. In order to drive an ambush. Yu Wanjian and the others were cultivators of the Lingwu continent, so they didn't know any Buddhist techniques. Even if they took it, it would be useless. Tu Jiaojiao scolded Yu Wanjian, "You are really shameless." Yu Wanjian's heart was filled with depression. He originally thought that he would be able to pass the trial quickly after obtaining this treasure. Who knew that he would end up worse off than he expected? Not only did he fail to pass the 3rd floor, but he was also beaten up by the undead creatures. The little she-devil said angrily, "Little brother, why don't we just kill them so that they don't come looking for trouble?" Yu Wanjian's expression changed drastically when he heard that. Qin Haodong's group had 3 experts at the great perfection of the spatial tempering stage on their side. Coupled with the Class 7 magical beast, it was not impossible for them to kill them. Just as the little demoness had said, this was the Tower of the Undead. Even if they died, no one would know what had happened. He hurriedly said, "You can't do this. No matter what, we are fellow students of the academy. You can't kill us." The little witch curled her lips and said, "Now you remember that we are classmates. What were you thinking when you attacked us before?" Yu Wanjian said, "I only snatched your treasures. I didn't kill you." According to the rules of the Black Tortoise Institute, it's forbidden for fellow disciples to kill each other. Otherwise, you'll be expelled from the institute. After all, Tu Jiaojiao was a woman with a soft heart. She glared at Yuan Jian and turned to Qin Haodong, saying, "Let's go." Qin Haodong glanced coldly at Yuan Jian, Xiao Yulong, and the others. "I hope you won't give me any more reasons to kill you." After saying that, he led the crowd toward the army of the undead. Ambush. Driven by the Buddhist cultivation method transformed by the green wood genuine qi, the magic wand burst forth with Buddha's light, instantly turning the undead creatures in front of them into a pile of white bones. Seeing that they were holding the ambush, Yuan Jian looked puzzled. Why is it an iron rod in my hand, but a divine weapon in the hands of others? Xiao Yulong quickly recovered from the shock and shouted, "Don't just stand there. Let's keep up." Yuan Jian also understood his intention. After Qin Haodong and the others had turned all the undead creatures into white bones, they immediately opened up a passage. This was definitely a good opportunity for them before the other undead creatures filled up the gap. Therefore, he led the crowd to keep up quickly. Although these people were not covered by the Buddha's light, the pressure on them was still much less. While resisting the undead creatures that were quickly returning, they followed closely behind and quickly passed through the third floor. This seventh stage pagoda seemed to have an inexplicable power. When they came to the staircase from the third to the fourth floor, the army of the undead completely retreated and returned to the static state of specimens. The scattered white bones seemed to have been replenished with energy, once again forming undead creatures. Seeing that Yuan Jian and the others had also rushed over, the little she-devil shouted discontentedly, "Don't you have any shame? Why are you following us?" Facing the accusation, Yuan Jian didn't care at all. "You go your own way, and we'll go ours. We came here with our own abilities, so it has nothing to do with you." Tu Jiaojiao said angrily, Don't you have any shame? Well, I'm just borrowing some light from you. What's the big deal?" Yuan Jian said, "Let me tell you, we're about to reach the fourth floor. This is the most difficult floor of the seventh stage pagoda, and it's full of advanced tactical formations. After I break the formation, I'll take you there. It'll be considered as returning the favor." Hearing this, Tu Jiaojiao didn't retort, which was rare. It was because she knew that apart from cultivation, Yuan Jian was best at tactical formations. He was not inferior to the teachers who taught tactical formations in the academy. If he could help later, it would indeed save her a lot of trouble. Yuan Jian looked proud as he strode to the fourth floor of the Buddha's pagoda. Unlike the other three floors, it was a vast expanse of whiteness here. Nothing could be seen with the naked eye, and there were faint fluctuations of tactical formations. Yuan Jian pointed at the fog and said, "This is not an ordinary fog, but a special kind of tactical formation. Those who don't know how to break the formation will never come out after entering it." Qin Haodong looked at the fog in front of him. It was indeed a tactical formation of a very high level. It looked like an ordinary maze, but in fact, there was a mystery to it. Even with his attainments in tactical formations, he had to make some deductions to find the mystery. It turned out that this tactical formation had two formation cores, one real and one fake. If he attacked the fake formation core, not only could he not break the maze in front of him, but he would also activate the hidden illusory formation. Seeing that Qin Haodong was looking at the fog in front of him without saying anything, Yuan Jian became even more proud. "Qin, aren't you very powerful? Are you dumbfounded now? Let me tell you, only people like us who are proficient in tactical formations can break this formation. If you don't know tactical formations, it's useless no matter how high your cultivation is." Qin Haodong already knew what was going on. He glanced at him and said, "Do you mean that you can break the formation?" "Of course, I'll break it for you now." Yuan Jian used to be the top student of the South Academy and was also a God-favored one. However, since he met Qin Haodong, he suffered a series of setbacks and lost his limelight. At this moment, he was determined to regain his lost face. He strode into the fog and said, "Let me tell you, as long as the formation core is broken, everyone will be able to pass through safely. If you can't find the formation core, you won't be able to get out even if you die of exhaustion." Seeing that he went directly to the fake formation core, Qin Haodong couldn't help but shake his head. This guy was indeed a dabbler. After destroying the fake formation core, Yuan Jian looked triumphant, but he didn't know that he was already trapped in an illusion. "Qin, did you see that? This is how the formation is broken. Don't think too highly of yourself. In fact, you're still a few streets behind me." After he finished speaking, Tu Jiaojiao immediately came over and said, "Senior, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. I was wrong before. Can you forgive me?" Murong Jinghong also came over and said, "Senior, you're not only handsome but also very capable. You don't need to defeat me 3 times. I'll be your girlfriend now, okay?" Tu Jiaojiao was instantly unhappy. "Murong Jinghong, let me tell you, Senior Yuan Jian is mine. You can't take him away even if you want to." Murong Jinghong said, "No, Senior Yuan Jian is so excellent. You can't take him away from me." Yuan Jian said, "Don't quarrel, my babies. Just be my women." "Okay, Senior, we're willing. Senior, let's go to the bridal room now." "I can't wait." Qin Haodong stood outside and saw Yuan Jian smirking, then dancing and tearing his clothes. Qin Haodong knew that Yuan Jian was trapped in an illusion. Seeing that Yuan Jian's clothes were getting thinner and thinner, he couldn't let him strip naked in front of the girls. Qin Haodong didn't wait any longer. He raised his hand and a red light shot out. With a snap, the fog in front of him completely dissipated, and so did the illusion. "Jiao, Jinghong, I'm coming." Yuan Jian was immersed in the illusion. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and all the scenes disappeared. Then, Tu Jiaojiao's angry face appeared in front of him. "Bastard, whose name are you calling?" Tu Jiaojiao raised her hand and slapped him in the face. Seeing that he was only wearing his underpants, she knew that he must be up to no good. Murong Jinghong glared at him and said, "If you dare to call my name again, believe it or not, I'll kill you." Yuan Jian came back to his senses. After the encounter on the first level, he knew that he had fallen into an illusion again. He looked down at his underpants and thought of how he had yelled just now. Even though he was thick-skinned, he still felt extremely embarrassed. "Senior Yu, your way of breaking the formation is really unique. It's the first time in so many years that I've seen someone take off his clothes to break the formation. Is this how you advanced formation masters break the formation?" Qin Haodong glanced at Yuan Jian mockingly. Then, he quickly passed through the 4th level and rushed to the 5th. "Bastard, how dare you humiliate me!" Yuan Jian cursed angrily. Then, he grabbed his clothes and put them back on. Xuepan said, "This guy is really a monster. He knows everything, including breaking the formation." Yuan Jian said, "Did you see how he broke the formation?" "We didn't see it clearly. We only saw him throw a red thing, and then the formation was broken." Xiao Yulong raised his hand and pointed to the front. "That thing is still there." Yuan Jian looked in the direction of his finger and saw a red brick on the ground. Chapter 9:18. Qin Haodong led the group to the 5th floor, which was completely different from the other 4 floors. There was a hall of 40 to 50 square meters on the 5th floor. The walls beside the hall were decorated with boxes for storing treasures, but they were empty at the moment. Obviously, the treasures had been taken away by the previous visitors. On the other side of the hall, there were many small houses. The doors were open, but no one knew where they led. They walked around and found no treasures, so they came to the front of the small house. "What is this? It looks interesting. I'll go in and have a look." After seeing the small house, the little she-devil was about to jump in, but Qin Haodong pulled her back. Don't go in recklessly. This is a maze. If you go in, you might get stuck and never get out. Murong Jinghong said, everyone, be careful. My ancestor said that he saw many strong people enter the maze, but then he never heard from them. They didn't come out until the 7th stage pagoda was closed. You can see how powerful this place is. Feng Qiong'er said, the 7th stage pagoda opens every 30 years, but no one has been able to reach the 6th floor until now. This shows that this place is not simple. The little she-devil shouted excitedly, doesn't that mean that no one has ever been to the 6th floor? All the treasures in there are ours. Feng Qiong'er said, that makes sense, but we have to be able to get there. Zhao Xingyue asked in confusion, little brother, what is a maze? This place looks like a small house. What's so scary about it? Qin Haodong said, a small house is not scary, but when you go in, you will find that every step forward is exactly the same small house. You can't see the front or the back, and you can't find the way out. In the end, you can only starve to death. Don't you think it's scary? Yin Xianxian said, it seems that the stairs to the 6th floor are on the other side of the maze. We have to go there to get to the 6th floor. The little she-devil asked, Sister Murong, didn't your ancestor say how to get through this place? Murong Jinghong shook his head and said, my ancestor was seriously injured when he came here. He was satisfied with the terpsichore, so he didn't continue exploring. In the records he left behind, it was mentioned that the next stage was a labyrinth, but there was no way to solve it. In the past few years, I've also looked up a lot of information, but there are too few records of labyrinths in the Lingwu continent. Until now, other than the 7th stage pagoda, there hasn't been one anywhere else. Tu Jiaojiao said, actually, it's easy to get through the maze. Everyone's thinking is limited. Why do we have to go through them one by one? We can just dismantle them. Anyway, this is the 5th level of the 7-stage pagoda. The area isn't too big, so there definitely won't be too many houses. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, the person who left behind the 7th stage pagoda is definitely a senior expert. How could he not have thought of your simple and crude idea? It definitely won't work. Whether it works or not, we'll know once we try. The true qi within Tu Jiaojiao's body quickly revolved, and with all her strength, she sent a palm strike towards the wall in front of her. Her cultivation had already attained the advanced stage of the void refinement realm, and a single palm strike was sufficient to split open a mountain. However, when her palm struck the walls before her, there was no effect other than a muffled bang. What is this? It's too sturdy. Tu Jiaojiao shook her numb wrist, turned around, and said to Murong Jinghong, Fairy Murong, it's definitely impossible to rely on human strength. Your startling sword is extremely sharp. Let's try it and see what happens. Murong Jinghong nodded, pulled out his startling sword, and slashed at the wall in front of him. What was surprising was that the startling sword, which was supposed to be indestructible, only left a dent on the wall after touching it. It did not cause much damage. Upon seeing this, Tu Jiaojiao immediately smiled bitterly. It seems that my idea won't work. Zhao Xingyue said, since we can't get through, let's go back. Along the way, they had first encountered the phantom flying ants, and then the Bone Legion. Although she had been holding back and not saying a word, she had indeed been frightened. They had just reached the 5th level, and there were still the 6th and 7th levels to go. She did not know what terrifying things there were, so she wanted to retreat. The little witch immediately shouted, how can we do that? The 7th stage pagoda appears once every 30 years, and we haven't obtained a single treasure yet. It wasn't easy to get here, so we can't go back empty-handed. The others had the same thought. They naturally did not want to return empty-handed, but they did not have a way to solve the maze. Qin Haodong said, don't worry, everyone. Just follow me. Tu Jiaojiao asked, be clear, this is not an array. Don't tell me you can also solve the maze. Qin Haodong smiled. No problem. Junior, how confident are you? Murong Jinghong's face was full of disbelief. Ever since her ancestors had gone to the 7th stage pagoda, her grandfather and father had been researching ways to solve the maze. Decades had passed, but her family's research had not made any progress. How could she not be shocked when Qin Haodong, who was just in his early 20s, said that he could solve it? Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, I'm 90% confident. Mazes were rare in the Lingwu continent, but they were games that even children played on Earth. Qin Haodong had once seen on a variety show that the ultimate method to solve mazes was to stick to the right side of the wall and keep one's hand, and one would be able to pass quickly. He had used this method to solve countless mazes. Although this was the Lingwu continent, mazes were still the same principle. The little she-devil jumped and shouted, "Great, I believe that little brother can definitely take us there." After everyone agreed, Qin Haodong took out the Tenjiang mortal world and connected everyone together. Then, he chose an entrance and walked into the maze. As soon as they entered, Yuan Jian, Xiao Yulong, and the others also arrived on the 5th floor. Yuan Jian glanced around and did not see Qin Haodong and the others. He turned to look at the maze in front of him. They have already gone in. Let's hurry. Xiao Yulong said, this is a maze. What if we can't get out after we go in? We can't worry about that. If we're any slower, all the treasures on the 6th floor will be taken by those guys. After saying that, Yuan Jian walked into the maze regardless of everything. Xiao Yulong hesitated for a moment, then followed him in. After all, their purpose was to get the treasures, so they had to give it a try. 5 minutes later, Qin Haodong led everyone out of the other side of the maze. It seemed that the ultimate skill was indeed the ultimate skill. Whether it was on Earth or in the Lingwu continent, it could effectively solve mazes. Little brother, you're amazing. You're the best man I've ever seen. The little she-devil kissed Qin Haodong on the cheek as she spoke. The other women's eyes were also full of admiration. The 6th floor, I'm coming. The little she-devil rushed to the 6th floor of the Buddha Tower excitedly. Slow down. Qin Haodong was afraid that something would happen to her, so he followed her closely with the others and came to the 6th floor that no one had ever been to. Compared with the first 5 floors, the space on the 6th floor was much smaller. It was empty and there was nothing. The most surprising thing was that there was not even a staircase to the 7th floor. Tu Jiaojiao said, what's going on? Could it be that there are only 6 floors in the 7th stage pagoda? Murong Jinghong looked around and said, that's possible. Maybe the 7th floor is just a decoration. The little she-devil pulled Qin Haodong's arm and asked, little brother, what do you think? I think that since it's the 7th stage pagoda, the 7th floor definitely exists. It's just that we haven't found a way to go up yet. Qin Haodong said, everyone, don't worry. The 7th stage pagoda will be open for 3 days. We still have a lot of time. Let's take the treasures here first. The walls of the 6th floor had many boxes for storing treasures. The boxes shone brightly and were filled with spiritual qi. It seemed that no one had visited this place before, and the treasures were still there. The little she-devil said excitedly, little brother is right. Since we're here, let's take the treasures first. Everyone's eyes burned with passion. They all knew that the higher the level of the 7th stage pagoda, the higher the level of the treasures. Murong Jinghong's ancestor had obtained the startling sword from the 5th floor. The treasures on the 6th floor would probably be even better. At this moment, Qin Haodong said, there are many treasures here. Everyone, don't fight over them. First come, first serve. Everyone agreed and pounced towards the treasures they fancied. Qin Haodong was not in a hurry. What he needed the most now was spiritual qi. The temptation of treasures was not too great. He looked around and realized that the treasures here mainly consisted of weapons, elixirs, and various cultivation techniques. He walked around casually. With a great artifact like the Shenyuan sword, he was no longer interested in other weapons. The elixirs here were not of a high level. As long as he had enough medicinal ingredients, he could refine them himself. Suddenly, an ancient book caught his interest. There were 5 big words written on it: Art of Extraordinary Transposition. As Emperor Greenwood, who had lived in the cultivation world for 500 years, he had seen countless cultivation techniques. However, he could not understand what this technique was for. He went over and flipped through the book. Only then did he understand what the art of extraordinary transposition was. Not bad, this is good stuff. Qin Haodong's face flashed with joy. This art of extraordinary transposition was a special technique. To put it bluntly, it was a very advanced space technique to quickly exchange two people's positions through the art of Chimenduanjia. If he could master this technique, he would immediately be able to swap places with the little demoness in the distance, and he would appear where the little demoness was. It was simple to say, but this technique could definitely play an unexpected role at a critical moment. He excitedly put the ancient book into his storage ring. At the same time, the others also got treasures that they were satisfied with. There were more than a dozen treasures in the entire hall. Everyone got at least one, so that no one returned empty-handed. "Brother Qin, what do you think of my sword?" Zhao Xingyue came over with a sword in her hand. Qin Haodong took the sword and looked at it. The whole sword was simple and elegant, with a strong spiritual qi. There were 2 words written on the scabbard: immortal slaying. He reached out to hold the hilt and pulled out the sword. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in front of him, and a sword like autumn water appeared in front of him. Not bad, it's really not ordinary. No wonder it's called immortal slaying. This sword was not inferior to Murong Jinghong's startling sword. Zhao Xingyue's face lit up and she said excitedly, "Brother Qin, if you like it, I'll give it to you." "How can I take the treasure that you got? You don't have a weapon yet, do you? This sword is just right for you." Zhao Xingyue said embarrassedly, "Brother Qin, I'm timid. Even if you give me this sword, I won't dare to use it." As the 2 of them were talking, the little she-devil ran over excitedly. "Big brother, do you think this dress of mine is pretty?" Chapter 9:19. The little she-devil ran over with a golden armor in her hands and presented it to Qin Haodong as if she was presenting a treasure. Qin Haodong took the armor. It was light in his hand. He didn't know what it was made of, but it was covered in golden scales. The most amazing thing was that there was a defensive formation on each scale. With hundreds of defensive formations stacked together, it was definitely a top-notch personal protection artifact. At this moment, a message flashed through his mind. Dragon scale armor can effectively neutralize 90% of the attack power. Qin Haodong couldn't help but click his tongue. It was definitely a top-notch defensive treasure that could neutralize 90% of the attack power. Although it wasn't at the level of a divine artifact, it wasn't far from it. It seemed that the treasures in the Buddha's tower were indeed extraordinary. Zhao Xingyue had obtained an immortal slaying sword, and the little she-devil had obtained a dragon scale armor. "Brother, tell me, what do you think of my clothes?" As a summoner who couldn't advance, she wasn't very interested in pills and weapons, so she chose this armor. Qin Haodong said, "This isn't clothes, it's dragon scale armor. It can neutralize 90% of the attack power. It's definitely a life-saving treasure." At this moment, Zhao Xingyue said embarrassedly, "Hongying, can we exchange? I'm timid, so it's useless even if I have a sword. This armor suits me better." As a summoner, the little she-devil didn't like swords, but she still said readily, "Sure, you can have it if you like it." "Thank you, Sister Hongying." Zhao Xingyue happily handed the immortal slaying sword to the little she-devil and put on the dragon scale armor. "This is much safer." Qin Haodong was speechless. She was clearly a late-stage void refinement expert, but she was so timid that she didn't even have the courage to fight. At this moment, Tu Jiaojiao and the others returned. Brother Qin, we've taken all the treasures here. Should we think of a way to go up to the 7th floor? Murong Jinghong said, I've already looked. There are no stairs to the upper floors. Is there any way to go up? At this moment, a beam of light suddenly shot down from the center of the Buddha's tower. It was like a spotlight on a modern stage, forming a shining circle of light in the center of the Buddha's tower. Subsequently, a voice resounded in everyone's ears, little fellows, welcome to the Buddha's pagoda. The abrupt voice startled everyone. Zhao Xingyue quickly held Qin Haodong's arm. The little she-devil asked with interest, Who are you? Where are you? The voice didn't answer the little she-devil's question and continued. If you want to enter the 7th level of the Buddha's pagoda, then you must pass through the soul interrogation. When they heard this, everyone immediately became excited. Looks like the 7th level of the Buddha's pagoda really exists. They had found so many treasures on the 6th floor, which filled everyone with hope for the 7th floor. The little demoness asked again, What is soul interrogation? Qin Haodong stopped her and said, Don't ask. There is no one here. This is a hint left by a senior master through special means. Just listen to him. Oh. The little she-devil nodded. At this time, the voice continued, The soul interrogation is this pillar of light in front of you. This is an extremely powerful spiritual array. If you want to enter the 7th floor, stand inside and accept my interrogation. If you want to obtain the treasures on the 7th floor, you must be an honest person. If you lie, you will be punished. The little demoness asked, What is the punishment? The voice said, The soul will be destroyed. This, after hearing the voice, everyone fell silent. This soul interrogation seemed simple, but it was extremely challenging. Who knew what he would ask? After all, everyone had their own secrets that they didn't want to say in public. However, the consequences of lying were so serious. Seeing that everyone was silent, the little demoness said, Isn't it just telling the truth? What's so difficult about it? I'll go first. She was usually straightforward and didn't have many secrets in her heart, so she wasn't afraid of this thing. As she spoke, she stepped towards the light circle, but was pulled back by Qin Haodong. Wait a minute. The little demoness said, What's wrong, brother? Do you want to go first? Qin Haodong shook his head and turned to Zhong Xiaodai. You go first. His approach surprised everyone. Along the way, no matter what difficulties he encountered, he would always be the first. Why did he let Zhong Xiaodai try first this time? Could it be that he felt that this soul interrogation was dangerous? Did he want someone outside the academy to try first? Zhong Xiaodai was also very surprised. She asked in surprise, Dr. Qin, why me? Is it because I'm not a student of the Black Tortoise Academy? Murong Jinghong said, Junior brother, why don't I go first? My cultivation is the highest here, and I have the startling sword. Even if there is any danger up there, I can deal with it. Qin Haodong shook his head again. You can't. She must be the first. Zhong Xiaodie's face darkened. Dr. Qin, aren't you being a bully? The others also felt that Qin Haodong's approach was a little inappropriate, but out of trust, no one said anything. Am I being a bully? Qin Haodong smiled slightly. If it weren't for you, I would be the first to go up. But with you here, I dare not do that. Once I go up, what if you attack my people? Zhong Xiaodie's expression changed greatly. Dr. Qin, what do you mean? Are you suspecting me? You're right. I'm suspecting you. Qin Haodong said without hesitation, you saw it outside just now. There are at least thousands of people who come to the Buddha Tower to practice. Why did you meet the 12 ghost slaves? And the Buddha mountain is so big. Why did they come to us? Zhong Xiaodai immediately put on a pitiful expression and said, Dr. Qin, you really wronged me. These are just coincidences. Tu Jiaojiao followed and said, yes, Brother Qin, did you misunderstand Sister Xiaodai? Qin Haodong said, these are not enough to arouse my suspicion. The most important thing is that I am a doctor. When I treated you, I found that your internal injury was cleverly avoided the vital parts. It looked very serious, but in fact, there was no real harm. Maybe you didn't expect that there would be a doctor in our team. If your injury was too serious, it would affect your next action. Zhong Xiaodai said anxiously, Dr. Qin, you really misunderstood me. The injuries on my body were caused by those ghost slaves. I don't know the specific situation. Qin Haodong waved his hand and interrupted Zhong Xiaodai, after joining our team, you first showed great loyalty when Xiahou and his son came. You desperately protected Zhao Xinyue and wanted to win our trust. After that, you were extremely low-key, and even made everyone forget that there was a person like you in the team. But the more you did this, the more you attracted my attention. When they heard this, everyone realized this. After entering the Buddha's pagoda, Zhong Xiaodai had indeed kept too low a profile, and she didn't even speak a single word. Qin Haodong continued, I didn't want to expose you. I wanted to see what you were going to do, but now I can't. If I enter the 7th floor first, I'm afraid that you will attack everyone. If I enter the last, I'm afraid that there will be unknown dangers ahead, so I have to get rid of you first. Zhong Xiaodai said with a wronged expression, Dr. Qin, you really misunderstood me. I'm really just an ordinary person who wants to practice. I have no malice towards you, Qin Haodong said, since you said so, I won't make things difficult for you. You just need to be the first to enter the soul torture, and then you will naturally tell the truth. Of course, if you want to risk the destruction of your soul, you can continue to lie. Okay, I'll prove it to everyone now. Zhong Xiaodie's face was determined as she strode toward the light beam of the soul torture. The little witch whispered, Brother Qin, did you misunderstand Sister Xiaodai? As soon as she finished speaking, Zhong Xiaodai, who was about to walk to the front of the soul torture, suddenly looked stunned. Then, the momentum of her body suddenly erupted, and she turned around and clawed at Qin Haodong. Nether Ghost Claw, boy, go to hell. At this time, Zhong Xiaodie's expression changed greatly. She was no longer gentle and virtuous, but had a fierce look on her face. Moreover, the momentum of her body was extremely powerful, far exceeding the late void refinement stage. She was obviously a master of the great vehicle stage. Oh my God, she's really a spy among us, so powerful, she's a master of the great vehicle stage. Nether Ghostclaw, she turned out to be a member of the Ghost King sect. Everyone was shocked by Zhong Xiaodie's change. They wanted to help Qin Haodong, but it was too late. But at this moment, a huge foot appeared in the air and collided with Zhong Xiaodie's nether ghost claw. After a muffled bang, Zhong Xiaodai was sent flying like a fly, and she fiercely crashed into the wall of the Buddha's pagoda. At the same time, the huge figure of the three-legged golden toad appeared in front of everyone, sticking out its huge tongue and staring at Zhong Xiaodai in front of it. Tu Jiaojiao stepped forward and said, "You're actually a member of the Ghost King sect. What's your purpose of being a spy among us?" Zhong Xiaodai got up from the ground and wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. She looked at everyone angrily but didn't speak. "Since you don't want to say, then I'll answer for you." Qin Haodong said, "Your Ghost King sect knows that the students of our Black Tortoise Academy are going to enter the Buddha Tower to practice, so you carefully plan to make us trust you and enter the Buddha Tower with us." The little witch asked, "Little brother, why don't they come to the Buddha Tower themselves? Why do they have to mix with us?" Qin Haodong said, "If I'm right, the Ghost King sect has sent people in before, but there are many checkpoints in the Buddha Tower, and they're not good at formations, so they didn't get much benefit. So this time, they changed their strategy and sent people to mix with us. They want to use us to get to the top of the Buddha Tower and kill us after getting the treasures." Everyone was relieved. If it weren't for Qin Haodong this time, they wouldn't have been able to reach the 6th floor of the Buddha Tower, let alone the Ghost King sect who didn't know formations at all. Murong Jinghong said, but she's only one person. It won't be easy for her to kill us, right? Qin Haodong said, she was originally a master of the great vehicle stage. I don't know what special method she used to seal her cultivation and sneaked into the Buddha Tower. But she has her own method, so she can unlock her seal at any time and restore her strength. Imagine if we were attacked by a master of the Desheng stage when we were unprepared, what would the consequences be? Hiss, everyone present gasped. The highest cultivation among them was at the late void refinement stage, which was not comparable to a master of the great vehicle stage at all. If they were attacked again, there would only be one result, and that was death. Chapter 920. Qin Haodong looked at Zhong Xiaodai and said with a playful face, how about it? Am I right? Seeing that things had been exposed, Zhong Xiaodai no longer hid it. You are right, our plan was perfect, but I didn't expect you to suddenly make a rank 7 magical beast, and I didn't expect to be seen through by you. After the three-legged golden toad advanced to a rank 7 magical beast, it brought great pressure to her, but in her opinion, as long as she killed Qin Haodong in advance, the magical beast would not be a problem. But what she never thought was that she was still seen through by Qin Haodong, who was very careful. In desperation, she pretended to enter the soul interrogation and wanted to take the opportunity to make a sudden attack, but she did not expect that Qin Haodong was prepared and was hit by the three-legged golden toad. Although she was a strong person in the early Desheng stage, she had no resistance in front of the three-legged golden toad. Qin Haodong said, looking at your cultivation, your status in the Ghost King's sect should not be low, can you introduce yourself? Zhong Xiaodai glared at him with resentment, since you have seen through it, I have nothing to say. Then do it. Qin Haodong waved his hand, and the three-legged golden toad, who was already impatient, rushed over, raised its big claws and smashed down. Zhong Xiaodai was completely scared by the three-legged golden toad. This guy was not only a rank 7 magical beast, but also the most powerful one. She hurriedly dodged to the side, but the three-legged golden toad looked cumbersome. In fact, it was very agile, and the other big claw was already waiting there. In desperation, Zhong Xiaodai could only fight with the three-legged golden toad again, this time not only shook her upside down, but also vomited blood, suffering a serious internal injury. Seeing that the three-legged golden toad was about to rush over again, she hurriedly cried, don't fight, as long as you let me go, I will leave the Buddha Tower immediately. Qin Haodong smiled coldly, you want to do something to us, and want to leave after the plot is exposed, there is no such thing in the world. Looking at the three-legged golden toad, Zhong Xiaodai said nervously, I tell you, I am one of the 4 ghost concubines of the Ghost King, if you dare to kill me, the Ghost King's sect will not let you go. If I let you go, the Ghost King's sect will not trouble us. Do you think we are fools? Qin Haodong ordered the three-legged golden toad, kill her. Quack. The three-legged golden toad issued a deafening roar, and its big tongue was like a flexible long whip as it swept towards Zhong Xiaodai. Qin Haodong, you forced me to do this. Zhong Xiaodai dodged the fatal blow of the three-legged golden toad. Her face flashed with a trace of malevolence. Then, the aura on her body suddenly soared. An extremely powerful and dangerous aura filled the entire tower. Primordial Spirit Self-Destruct. Everyone, run. Qin Haodong didn't expect Zhong Xiaodai to be so crazy that she chose to self-destruct her primordial spirit. Generally speaking, even if a cultivator who had reached the body integration stage perished, their primordial spirit would continue to survive. At the very least, they could choose to reincarnate. If they self-destructed, there would be nothing left. At the same time, the self-detonation of the primordial spirit was also extremely powerful. In particular, the detonation of the primordial spirit of a cultivator at the body integration stage was no less than a small nuclear bomb. After Qin Haodong issued the reminder, his mind moved, and the three-legged golden toad put away the spirit beast bag. He turned around and threw Zhao Xingyue and the little she-devil to the ground. Before they set off, he had promised Luo Dongqing that he would protect the little girl no matter what. At this moment, the green with genuine qi in his body was running crazily, and his protective genuine qi protected the three of them at the same time. Hearing Qin Haodong shout, Tu Jiaojiao, Morong Jinghong, and the others quickly retreated. But it was too late. With a loud bang, the powerful energy first tore Zhong Xiaojie's body into a bloody mist, and then it scattered in all directions in the Buddha Tower. Under the impact of the huge wave of air, several people flew around like broken kites and hit the walls of the tower. Although Qin Haodong's green with genuine qi was tyrannical, the power of Zhong Xiaojie's primordial spirit self-detonation was too great. In addition, he was in the center of the Buddha Tower, and he had to protect the two people under him. The huge energy instantly broke through his protective genuine qi. Then, he felt as if his back had been hit by a 10,000-ton boulder. His chest felt hot, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. The little she-devil and Zhao Xingyue's faces were covered with it. Their vision turned black, and they lost consciousness. Tu Jiaojiao, Fan Qiong, and Yun Qianqian hit the walls of the tower hard, then lay on the ground and spat out mouthfuls of blood. Obviously, they were seriously injured. The self-detonation of the primordial spirit was too violent. If Qin Haodong had not given them a warning in advance, they would not have just been seriously injured. They might even have lost their lives. Murong Jinghong was the least injured. At this moment, a silver shield flashed in front of her. This was the protective treasure that she had just obtained from the 6th floor of the Buddha Tower. Relying on this silver shield, she was not seriously injured, but her internal organs were slightly shaken when she hit the wall of the tower. The little she-devil and Zhao Xingyue were shocked by the sudden change. Before they could react, a warm liquid sprayed on their faces, accompanied by a strong smell of blood. When the airwaves in the tower gradually calmed down and the thick smoke dissipated, the little she-devil realized that Qin Haodong was injured. She hurriedly shouted, "Little brother, how are you?" Zhao Xingyue was even more flustered. She grabbed Qin Haodong's arm and shook it desperately. "Brother Qin, what's wrong? Don't scare me." However, Qin Haodong had already fallen into a deep coma. No matter how they shouted, they could not wake him up. Hearing their shouting, Murong Jinghong hurriedly ran over. Seeing Qin Haodong lying on the ground motionlessly, he asked nervously, "How is junior brother?" The little she-devil choked and said, "Brother Qin, he was injured to protect us." Zhao Xingyue burst into tears. "Brother Qin, are you okay, Brother Qin? It's all my fault that you were injured because of my incompetence." Hearing their crying, Tu Jiaojiao, Fan Qiong, and Yun Qianqian immediately became nervous. They ran over to check on Qin Haodong regardless of their own serious injuries. Yun Qianqian and Fan Qiong supported each other and stumbled. Tu Jiaojiao was more seriously injured and almost crawled over. Murong Jinghong hurriedly carried her to Qin Haodong's side. "Senior brother, how are you? Wake up, don't scare me. Dr. Qin, are you okay? Dr. Qin. Junior brother, wake up quickly." For a moment, all the women present were very nervous. The explosion just now was too scary, and they were seriously injured even though they were on the periphery. Qin Haodong was in the center of the slaughter tower, and he had to protect Zhao Xingyue and the little she-devil. Murong Jinghong nervously checked Qin Haodong's pulse and heartbeat. Finally, he breathed a sigh of relief and said to everyone, "Well, don't cry. Junior brother is only injured and unconscious. His life is not in danger." Hearing this news, the others also breathed a sigh of relief, but Zhao Xingyue still kept crying. "It's all my fault. I'm too timid. Otherwise, Brother Qin wouldn't have been so seriously injured." At this moment, footsteps were heard from the stairs. Yu Wanjian came up with some people. "Hey, why are you all crying?" They wandered in the maze for a long time, but still couldn't find the way out. Finally, they returned to the starting point. Later, Shui Pan came up with an idea. They followed Qin Haodong's aura and walked the path he had walked. Only then did they walk out of the maze. However, they heard a deafening explosion as soon as they came out. The explosion was too scary, so they didn't rush to come up. They waited until the crisis was completely over before they carefully went to the 6th floor. Yuan Jian looked at the unconscious Qin Haodong and immediately smiled. He laughed and said, "No wonder you guys are crying. It turns out that Qin Haodong is dead." Tu Jiaojiao said angrily, "Yuan Jian, shut your stinky mouth." The little she-devil said angrily, "Nonsense. My little brother won't die even if you die." "Really? Then let's see who will die first, him or me." A murderous look flashed in Yuan Jian's eyes. He had suffered a lot under Qin Haodong during this period of time, so his heart was full of hatred. In the past, he was most afraid of Qin Haodong's 7th-grade magical beast. However, now that Qin Haodong was unconscious and definitely couldn't summon that magical beast, it was the best time to kill him. As he spoke, he drew out the long sword on his back and strode toward Qin Haodong. Tu Jiaojiao suddenly became nervous. She wasn't afraid of Yuan Jian in the past, but she was seriously injured and had no combat power at all. Among them, the only one who wasn't injured was Zhao Xingyue, who was protected by Qin Haodong and was wearing the dragon scale armor. However, this girl was extremely timid and didn't have the courage to fight at all. Only Murong Jinghong and the little she-devil were left. Seeing that Yuan Jian was up to no good, Murong Jinghong drew out his startling sword and stood in front of him. He shouted angrily, "What are you doing?" Yuan Jian didn't answer. He turned to Xiao Yulong, Shui Pan, and the rest and said, "This kid has been against us a lot. Now is the best time to kill him." The little she-devil said angrily, "Yuan Jian, are you crazy? We're all students of the Black Tortoise Institution. If you touch even a finger of my little brother, my grandfather will never forgive you." Although Xiao Yulong and Shui Pan hated Qin Haodong to the core, they were students of the institution after all. Seeing that Yuan Jian really wanted to kill them, they hesitated for a moment. Yuan Jian shouted, "A real man must be ruthless. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Why are you hesitating?" Xiao Yulong said, "He's a student of our institution after all. Will there be trouble if we really kill him? What are you afraid of? We're all top students of the institution. It's nothing even if we kill a poor kid. Will the institution expel all of us?" Seeing that they were still hesitating, Yuan Jian said anxiously, "Qin Haodong is unconscious now. It'll be troublesome if we wait for him to wake up. When he has that 7th-grade magical beast, we won't even be able to take away the treasures. Think about it. Why did you spend so much effort to come to the 7th stage pagoda? You just need to stop Murong Jinghong. I'll do the killing." Humans died for wealth, and birds died for food. Coupled with his hatred for Qin Haodong, Xiao Yulong gritted his teeth and said, "All right, let's do it." The 8 students of the South College originally did not have much enmity with Qin Haodong. However, for the treasures in the 7th stage pagoda, they all stood behind Yuan Jian. Murong Jinghong and the rest became nervous when they saw the murderous glint in their eyes. Unfortunately, apart from her and the little she-devil, no one else had the strength to fight. Yuan Jian looked pleased with himself after obtaining everyone's support. He looked at Murong Jinghong and said, "We only want to deal with that Qin brat. As long as you step aside, we won't make things difficult for you. You heartless thing. Have you forgotten how Qin Haodong saved you previously?" Murong Jinghong said angrily with the startling sword in his hand, "As long as I'm here today, don't even think about hurting a single hair on his head." At the same time, the little she-devil had already completed the summoning technique. The living spirit door slowly opened in the hexagram, and a few black figures dashed out one after another. Chapter 921. It's a three-headed Cerberus. Damn it, why did she summon it again? Why are we so unlucky? Why isn't it a chicken, pig, or sheep this time? Oh my god, she actually summoned 4 of them at once, Xiao Yulong and the trainees around him exclaimed when they saw the little she-devil summon 4 three-headed Cerberus at once. They were very familiar with the three-headed Cerberus after fighting it for the past few days. It was a top-notch existence among the 6th grade magical beasts. A three-headed Cerberus was equivalent to an expert at the peak of the void refinement realm. Although they had the advantage in numbers, Yuan Jian had to deal with Morong Jinghong. Among the remaining 10 people, the one with the highest cultivation was at the late stage of the void refinement realm. They were no match for the three-headed Cerberus in a one-on-one fight. Even if the 10 of them joined forces, they would still be at a disadvantage in terms of overall strength. At this moment, the little she-devil was no longer joking around. Her expression was extremely serious, and her eyes were filled with a strong killing intent. Qin Haodong was injured in order to save her, but these people wanted to kill her little brother. She could not accept this no matter what. Bite them to death. At the little she-devil's command, the 4 three-headed Cerberus pounced on Xiao Yulong and the others with blood-red ferocity flashing in their eyes. Seeing that his side was at a disadvantage, Yuan Jian knew that he had to end the battle quickly. He flashed and pounced on Morong Jinghong. Anyone who stands in my way will die. With a loud shout, he stabbed the long sword in his hand at Morong Jinghong's chest. Bastard, get lost. Morong Jinghong waved the startling sword in his hand and slashed at his long sword. Yuan Jian only had an ordinary long sword in his hand, so he did not dare to fight the startling sword head-on. He hurriedly changed his move and fought with Morong Jinghong. His cultivation was slightly higher than Morong Jinghong's. Although Morong Jinghong's primordial spirit self-detonated, he was still injured after all. Moreover, he had to block Yuan Jian's way to prevent him from hurting Qin Haodong. Under such circumstances, he was at an extreme disadvantage even with the help of the startling sword. After fighting for a few rounds, Morong Jinghong's arm was pierced by Yuan Jian's sword. Yuan Jian yelled, "Fairy Morong, you're no match for me. I just want to kill that Qin brat. I don't want to make things difficult for you. Get out of my way." Morong Jinghong's eyes were bloodshot as he shouted, "If you want to kill junior brother, you'll have to do it over my dead body. You forced me to do this." Yuan Jian clenched his teeth. His sword technique became increasingly swift and fierce as he took out his trump card, 3 deadly swords. This was his most powerful sword technique, and he would never use it normally. Morong Jinghong was flustered and only managed to dodge the first 2 swords. The third sword pierced into her right chest. Yuan Jian yelled crazily, "Are you going to step aside or not?" Morong Jinghong ignored the injuries on his body and shouted with a resolute expression, "No. Kill me if you can. Then go to hell." Seeing that the people around him were being chased by the three-headed Cerberus and that Qin Haodong could wake up at any moment, Lin Sanjiu felt a chill run down her spine. The long sword in his hand turned into a stream of flowing light again and pierced toward Morong Jinghong's left chest. Morong Jinghong did not dodge this time. She raised her cyan rainbow sword and pierced it toward Yuan Jian at the same time. She was fighting with all her might to injure both of them. "Bitch, you're fighting me with all your might for another man." Morong Jinghong's desperate fighting style provoked Yuan Jian even more. Instead of dodging, he sped up his movements. In his opinion, he was much faster than Morong Jinghong, who was seriously injured. Before Morong Jinghong could hurt him, he would stab Morong Jinghong to death. Seeing that Yuan Jian did not dodge, Morong Jinghong's eyes flashed with excitement. Just when Yuan Jian's long sword was about to pierce her chest, a silver shield suddenly appeared in her hand. It was the treasure she had just obtained. All of this was a trap carefully planned by Morong Jinghong. She knew that she was no match for Yuan Jian in such a situation. Therefore, after being seriously injured, she used such a fighting style to lure Yu Wanjian into taking the bait. Yu Wanjian's long sword pierced the silver shield with no effect. At the same time, Murong Jinghong's sword had already reached his chest. It was too late for him to dodge it. With a puff, Yu Wanjian's long sword pierced through his right chest even though he tried his best to dodge it. Ah! Yu Wanjian let out a scream. The sharp Murong sword almost pierced through his chest. His injury was more serious than Murong Jinghong's, and he fell to the ground with a thud. Seeing that he had succeeded, Murong Jinghong's face flashed with joy. Then, he blacked out and fell to the ground with a thud. Xiao Yulong was desperately waving his long sword to fend off a three-headed Cerberus in front of him. Seeing that Yu Wanjian was seriously injured, he panicked and allowed the three-headed Cerberus to break through his defense. Seeing three heads with their bloody mouths open in front of him, he hurriedly stabbed them with his sword. Although the sword pierced through the heads of the two Cerberus, the third one had managed to bite down on his left arm. The Cerberus was incomparably ferocious. With a snapping sound, it tore off his left arm, which was dripping with blood. Xiao Yulong immediately let out a miserable scream. Now that things had come to this, he no longer had the courage to continue fighting. He turned around and ran towards the fifth level. Seeing that Yu Wanjian was injured and Xiao Yulong had escaped with serious injuries, the rest of the people immediately lost their focus and lost all their fighting strength. A piece of flesh was torn from Xue Pan's chest by the claws of a three-headed Cerberus. Howling, he followed Xiao Yulong and fled to the fifth level. As for the rest of the students, their cultivation base was even weaker. They did not even have the chance to escape. In the blink of an eye, they were all killed by the sharp claws of the three-headed Cerberus. Little she-devil's eyes were bloodshot and filled with hatred. She had no intention of stopping them. After all the people in front of her had been bitten to death, she looked at Yu Wanjian, who was lying on the ground with a murderous look. You be ****. My little brother has saved you so many times, yet you want to kill him. You have to die today. Yu Wanjian struggled with all his might. However, he still could not get up from the ground due to his severe injuries. Seeing the four three-headed Cerberus glaring at him, he was scared out of his wits. Trembling, he said, Luo Hongying, we're schoolmates in the academy. Please don't kill me, now that you know we're schoolmates, why didn't you say we were schoolmates when you tried to kill my little brother? After saying that, little she-devil waved her hand and the four three-headed Cerberus pounced on him. 12 bloody mouths tore at Yu Wanjian's body. After letting out a miserable howl, Yu Wanjian lost all signs of life. Little she-devil did not even look at him. She sent the four three-headed Cerberus back to the living soul gate and quickly ran to Murong Jinghong. However, she did not know medicine, so she could only use the basic acupoint technique to stop the bleeding in Murong Jinghong's chest. Although they had won, it was too tragic. Apart from her and Zhao Xingyue, everyone else was lying on the ground with severe injuries and their lives were in danger. Little brother, please wake up. I'm begging you. Please wake up, little she-devil hugged Qin Haodong and shook him with all her might. At that moment, another three figures appeared at the staircase of the sixth floor. Zhao Xingyue's face had turned pale from the earlier battle. She became even more nervous when she saw the three of them. Hongying, look. The bad guys are here. Little she-devil turned around and saw He Kai-shan, Dong Zhenhai, and Dong Zhenjiang standing at the staircase. Seeing their unfriendly expressions, she stood up and shielded Qin Haodong behind her. What are you guys doing here? After He Kai-shan had escaped that day, he had coincidentally bumped into the Dong brothers. The three of them hit it off and came to the Slaughter Pagoda together. They knew that it would be difficult to reach the top floor of the Slaughter Pagoda with their own abilities. Therefore, they followed Xiao Yulong and the rest quietly to the fifth floor of the Slaughter Pagoda. Just when the three of them were wondering how to pass through the maze, the injured Xiao Yulong and Xue Pan ran out. Seeing that the two of them were seriously injured, He Kai-shan and the rest decided to take the risk even though they did not know what had happened. Therefore, they followed the trail of blood to pass through the maze and arrived at the 6th floor. At first, they were still cautious. However, when they saw that the floor was full of injured people and that Qin Haodong still needed the protection of little she-devil, they immediately relaxed. Ha, 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 Dong Zhenhai laughed wildly. Qin brat, aren't you very powerful? Aren't you very powerful? Weren't you able to chase us out of the Black Tortoise Institution? So what? Now it's still in our hands. He Kai-shan glanced greedily at the immortal slaying sword in little she-devil's hand. He reached out to take the silver shield that Murong Jinghong had dropped and praised, good stuff, really good stuff. I didn't expect them to find so many good treasures. But now they are all ours. Dong Zhenhai said proudly, it's better to come at the right time than to come early. Now, not only can we take revenge, we can also get these treasures. This trip was not in vain. Dong Zhenjiang looked at Qin Haodong who was lying on the ground with eyes full of hatred. Big brother, I will kill that Qin brat now. Little she-devil held the immortal slaying sword in her hand and shouted sternly, let's see who dares to touch my little brother. He Kai-shan was slightly stunned and said, shouldn't you be using the summoning technique? Since when did you use it directly? Little she-devil said angrily, it's none of your business. He Kai-shan glanced at the bloodstains and the people who were lying on the ground with serious injuries and suddenly came to a realization. I understand. You have just experienced a great battle, so you have already used the summoning technique. You won't be able to use it again in a short period of time, right? I'm going to use the sword. What's wrong? It's none of your business. Little she-devil had indeed just used the summoning technique and could not use it again within 10 minutes. Although she knew that her cultivation at the late stage of the divine transformation realm could not compare with the three people in front of her, she could only fight to the death in order to protect Qin Haodong. After confirming his guess, He Kai-shan smiled proudly. Fairy Murong, who is ranked first in the north courtyard, can't move now, and Tu Jiaojiao, who is ranked second in the south courtyard, has also become useless. Only the summoner with the weakest cultivation and a piece of trash who doesn't dare to make a move are left. They are fighting to the death while we pick the fruits of our labor. We brothers are lucky. Speaking of this, the three of them laughed proudly together. Only then did little she-devil realize that Zhao Xingyue, who was at the late stage of the void training realm, was behind her. She turned around and shouted, Sister Xingyue, hurry up and fight with me. With your cultivation, you will definitely be able to kill these three scumbags. Zhao Xingyue stayed by Qin Haodong's side and cried nervously, I don't dare. Little she-devil suddenly became anxious. In the past, with Qin Haodong's protection, there was no need for Zhao Xingyue to do anything. However, the situation was urgent now. If Zhao Xingyue did not do anything, they would really be finished. She shouted sternly, these three people are at the middle stage of the void training realm at most. They can't beat you at all. Why don't you dare? Are you really a piece of trash? Chapter 922. In the past, she would have been very polite to Zhao Xingyue, but at this time, in order to arouse Zhao Xingyue's courage, she could only use this method to provoke her. However, it turned out that this method still didn't work. Zhao Xingyue squatted on the ground, her face pale and trembling like a frightened sheep. She didn't look like a master at the late stage of void training at all. He Kai-shan laughed proudly and said, Luo Hongying, don't waste your time. You can't count on a piece of trash at all. Dong Zhenjiang said, brothers, a long night is fraught with trouble. Let's hurry up in case someone else comes. He Kai-shan nodded and strode toward Qin Haodong with murderous intent in his eyes. The little witch raised the immortal chopping sword in her hand and said nervously, don't come over, or I'll do it. He Kaishan had reached the middle stage of void training, while the little witch was just a warrior at the late stage of divine transformation realm without using the summoning skill. There was a huge gap between their cultivations. As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly felt that the immortal chopping sword was already in Hikaishin's hand. Then there was a sharp pain in her lower abdomen. She was kicked out and hit the wall of the tower dozens of meters away. Hikaishan walked over with the immortal chopping sword in his hand. Seeing that Qin Haodong was dying, Zhao Xingyue stood in front of Qin Haodong and begged, "Please, let brother Qin go. We can give you all our treasures." The little witch got up from the ground and shouted angrily, "Sister Xingyue, kill him. Don't beg them. This piece of trash. You're still counting on her. You're dreaming." Hikaishan had been in the same group with Zhao Xingyue before, so he knew her very well. He knew that although this woman was extremely talented, she didn't have the courage to make a move, so he didn't take her seriously at all. "Useless trash, get out of my way." He kicked Zhao Xingyue away and strode to Qin Haodong. He pointed the immortal chopping sword at his chest and said, "Qin, aren't you awesome? Don't you have the support of the Dean? What now? I'll send you to hell." Seeing that her little brother was about to die on the spot, the little she-devil let out a heart-wrenching scream, "No." Zhao Xingyue was lying at the side, looking at everything in front of her with a dull expression. At this moment, the scenes of her and Qin Haodong together flashed like a movie. The first time they met, he killed the dragon scale python to save him. Then, he took good care of him, gave him good food, paid for his school fees, and spat out mouthfuls of blood to protect him. She's my teammate. I can't abandon her. As a man, I have the responsibility to protect a woman. He is the person I love the most. I want to grow old with him. On the first floor of the Buddha's pagoda, the illusion that Zhao Xingyue encountered was one where she and Qin Haodong helped each other grow old together. At this moment, a voice rang out in her heart. "Zhao Xingyue, you're not trash. Big brother Qin has protected you for so long, now it's time for you to protect him. Kill him, big brother he, quickly kill this brat." Dong Junjiang screamed at the side. Hikaishan looked at Qin Haodong with a sneer. He was now the master of the entire Buddha's pagoda. With a flick of his wrist, the immortal slaying sword stabbed down. Just as the tip of the immortal slaying sword was about to pierce through Qin Haodong's throat, a foot suddenly swept across the sky and kicked the immortal slaying sword away. Then, another palm hit Hikaishan's chest hard. Hikaishan flew out like a kite with a broken string. The immortal slaying sword fell to the ground with a clang, and he began to spit out mouthfuls of blood in midair. "Who is it? Who attacked me?" Hikaishan covered his chest that felt like it was being torn apart. He looked up and saw Zhao Xingyue standing in front of Qin Haodong. However, Zhao Xingyue was no longer the coward from before. Her eyes were bloodshot, and her entire body was filled with a terrifying killing intent. How is this possible? She's trash, she's a coward. How dare she attack me? Hikaishan didn't want to believe everything in front of him, but the heart-wrenching pain in his chest told him that everything was true. At that moment, Qin Haodong's safety allowed Zhao Xingyue to break through the barrier in her heart, filling her heart with courage. She said coldly, "I'll kill whoever dares to attack Big Brother Qin. You trash! How dare you fight back?" Dong Zhenhai shouted angrily and raised his hand to hit Zhao Xingyue's face. He still retained his previous knowledge and did not realize that Zhao Xingyue had grown into a powerful warrior at the late stage of the Void Refinement realm. "You want to kill Big Brother Qin? Go to hell." Dong Zhenhai was only a warrior at the early stage of the Void Refinement realm. It was fine if Zhao Xingyue didn't dare to attack him, but once she mustered her courage, he couldn't even block one move. After being hit by the palm, his entire chest had caved in. When he fell to the ground, he was no longer breathing. "Big brother! Dong Junjiang let out a scream and pulled out his sword to stab Zhao Xingyue. At that moment, Zhao Xingyue was like a female devil. For the sake of the person in her heart, she didn't care even if she had to fight against all the gods and Buddhas. Dong Junjiang was only a warrior at the late stage of the divine transformation realm. In comparison, his cultivation was even worse. As soon as he stabbed out with his sword, he lost sight of Zhao Xingyue. Then, he heard a cracking sound. His neck was twisted, and his body fell to the ground with a thud. After killing the Dong brothers, Zhao Xingyue had no intention of giving up. She reached out and waved her hand. The immortal slaying sword appeared in her hand, and she walked toward He Kaishan step by step with the sword in her hand. He Kaishan panicked. He never thought that he would die at the hands of Zhao Xingyue one day. She was clearly a timid piece of trash. How did she suddenly become a female devil? Don't come over. Please, don't kill me. Before he could finish, the startling sword had already pierced his throat. He Kaishan didn't close his eyes until he died. It seemed that he didn't understand why he would die at the hands of a piece of trash. After breaking through her inner demons, Zhao Xingyue became murderous. When she turned around and saw Qin Haodong lying on the ground, a touch of tenderness flashed in her eyes. Sister Xingyue, you're amazing. The little she-devil cheered and rushed toward Zhao Xingyue, kissing her on the cheek. Sister Xingyue, you're finally not a coward anymore. You saved us. Zhao Xingyue's murderous intent faded, and a flash of shyness appeared on her face. At that moment, another clear voice was heard. Xingyue, you've finally grown up. Zhao Xingyue turned her head and saw that it was Qin Haodong who had spoken. At that moment, he had already sat up from the ground and was looking at her with a smile. Brother Qin, you're finally awake. She ran over happily and hugged Qin Haodong's arm. It seemed that she had returned to being the shy little girl from before. The little she-devil also rushed over, hugged the other arm, and said, Little brother, when did you wake up? Qin Haodong said, Just now, when He Kaishan wanted to kill me. Although Zhong Xiaodie's self-detonation had caused him severe internal injuries, the Everwood longevity body had a unique advantage in the recovery of injuries, and it was constantly repairing his injured meridians. Just when He Kaishan was about to kill Zhao Xingyue, a strong murderous intent woke him up from his coma, and he happened to see Zhao Xingyue's outburst. Zhao Xingyue said guiltily, Brother Qin, I'm sorry. I've dragged you down and caused you to be injured. You've finally broken through your inner demons. That's good enough. Qin Haodong said as he stood up. I'll treat everyone's injuries first. Although he had only recovered half of his injuries, the others were more seriously injured. If they weren't treated in time, they would probably be in danger. Among them, Murong Jinghong was the most seriously injured. Yu Wanjian's sword had almost pierced through her right chest. Fortunately, the little she-devil had sealed some of her acupoints, or she would have bled to death by now. Qin Haodong took out his silver needles and hurriedly treated Murong Jinghong's injuries. About an hour later, Murong Jinghong, Tu Jiaojiao, Fang Qiong, and Yun Qianqian's injuries had all been treated. All that was left was for them to recover slowly. He let out a long sigh. Fortunately, no one had died. If these girls had died because of him, he would have felt guilty for the rest of his life. After treating everyone, the little she-devil said, Little brother, shouldn't we hurry up with the soul interrogation and go to the 7th floor? Otherwise, I'm afraid someone will come here again. Zhao Xingyue said, Brother Qin's injuries haven't healed yet, and I'm not injured. Let me go first. Xingyue, you're much braver than before. Qin Haodong said with a smile, I don't know what kind of unknown dangers are on the 7th floor. I'll be the first to go. Zhao Xingyue said worriedly, but your injuries haven't healed yet. Qin Haodong said, It's okay. I'm already half healed. Besides, I'm awake now, so I can call the three-legged golden toad to help me at any time. It's a 7th grade magical beast, and it's stronger than all of you. After saying that, he walked to the center of the Buddha Tower and stepped into the soul interrogation halo. Welcome to the soul interrogation. You must answer truthfully. If there's a lie, your soul will be destroyed. It didn't take long for the voice to ring out again. This time, it began to ask questions. What's your name? Where are you from? Qin Haodong didn't hide it anymore. He said, my name is Qin Haodong, and I'm from Earth. The voice asked again, who is your favorite person? Well. Qin Haodong hesitated. He had parents, a daughter, and so many girlfriends who loved him. He really couldn't tell who he loved the most. At the same time, the eyes of the girls present were fixed on Qin Haodong's face, waiting for his answer. The voice said again, you only have 30 seconds to answer each question. Now there are 10 seconds left. If you can't give an accurate answer, it will be considered that you've given up this opportunity. Qin Haodong said, there's no one I love the most. I love many people. In my heart, they're all equal. After saying that, his whole body tensed up. He was very afraid that his answer would not satisfy the other party. The third question, the soul interrogation, continued to ask questions. Obviously, it agreed with Qin Haodong's answer and did not take it as a lie. After hearing this answer, the girls present looked at each other. He loved many people. Could it be that they were all his lovers? The questions of the soul interrogation were random, but the questions were extremely private. Qin Haodong answered them truthfully. After asking a few more questions, the voice said again, you've passed the soul interrogation, but you can't enter the 7th floor for the time being. You can take the final test after everyone else has answered. Now, please leave. It turned out that he could not enter the 7th floor through the soul interrogation. Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief and stepped out of the halo. He glanced at the girls, a little worried that they would ask him where he came from. Chapter 923. The little witch asked first, little brother, is the earth a mountain? Or a village? Can you take me there to play when you have time? I want to see the place where you grew up. Qin Haodong was speechless for a while. He found that his worries were unnecessary. These people had no idea what the earth represented and what it meant. He said, to be honest, I can't find the way I came here. I can't go back anytime soon. The little witch said with slight disappointment, oh. Little brother, you're so stupid. You can't even find the way home. Qin Haodong shook his head. He didn't want to continue this heavy topic. He said, who's next? I'll do it. Zhao Xingyue stepped into the light circle of the soul interrogation without hesitation. After she stood still, the voice sounded again, who are you? Where are you from? After hearing this question, everyone looked at Zhao Xingyue with great interest. Qin Haodong knew that this girl must have her own secrets, but he didn't ask Zhao Xingyue if she didn't say it. Now that the soul interrogation had asked this question, the answer was about to be revealed. I'm Zhao Xingyue, the princess of the Xuanwu kingdom. After hearing this answer, everyone present was stunned. They didn't expect that the girl who was as timid as a mouse before would have such an amazing background. The little witch cried out in surprise, Sister Xingyue is a princess. The one who sleeps with me every day is a princess. Qin Haodong was also a little surprised. He had thought that Zhao Xingyue was just a young lady from a big family. He didn't expect her to be the daughter of a king. Everyone was shocked. When they were talking about it, the voice asked again, who do you love the most? Zhao Xingyue was in the beam of light. She couldn't see anything in front of her, but she still couldn't help glancing at Qin Haodong. I love brother Qin the most. For him, I got rid of my inner demons. I can do anything for him, after hearing such a sincere confession, Qin Haodong was touched and embarrassed. The other girls also looked over with complicated expressions. They all had their own thoughts. Soon, Zhao Xingyue passed the soul interrogation. She lowered her head and returned to the crowd. However, after the confession just now, her cheeks were red and she was extremely shy. She didn't even have the courage to raise her head to look at everyone. The little she-devil took her hand and said with a smile, "Sister Xingyue, don't be embarrassed. Confessing is also a kind of courage. Little brother is so outstanding, so liking him is not a shameful thing. If I'm not wrong, there's no telling how many people will like you later." Qin Haodong raised his hand and knocked on her head. "Little girl, don't talk nonsense. Don't hit my head. How can I be a summoner if I become stupid?" The little demon girl said with dissatisfaction, "If you don't believe me, just wait and see. There will be other sisters who like you." Fang Qiong'er was the third to undergo the soul torture, Yun Shanshan was the fourth, Murong Jinghong was the fifth, and Tu Jiaojiao was the sixth. Everyone answered the questions of the soul torture truthfully. Then, an embarrassing scene appeared. There were 5 girls present, and all of them liked Qin Haodong, including the little devil herself. "Little brother, I wasn't wrong, right? Everyone likes you." Qin Haodong was speechless. Originally, after coming to the Lingwu continent, he had been thinking about how to return to Earth as soon as possible, so he had not dared to touch the feelings of this world. He had even said that he was a gay friend, but he did not expect to end up with so many love debts. He sighed. "I have been very low-key, but I still did not expect it to end up like this." The little she-devil said with a smile, "Little brother, so many beautiful sisters like you. Why are you not happy?" Just when Qin Haodong did not know how to answer, the light beam of the soul torture disappeared, and the voice sounded again. "Now, 6 of you have passed the soul torture, but only one can enter the 7th floor of the slaughter pagoda. Now, let me ask the last question. Whoever answers it correctly will pass the test." The little she-devil said in a low voice, "Everyone, what do you think he will ask? Maybe it's about cultivation. It must be very profound, not necessarily. The slaughter pagoda is so mysterious. Maybe it's about formations." Everyone whispered, and the voice continued, "The wind rises with the wind. Please tell me what the next line of this poem is." Everyone was dumbfounded. They did not expect the last question to be like this. Qin Haodong opened his mouth in surprise. How could there suddenly be a Tang poem by Li Taibai in the Lingwu continent? The voice said again, "I'll give you 1 minute to prepare. If you can't answer, then leave the slaughter pagoda." The little she-devil said in surprise, "Who knows what a poem is?" Murong Jinghong said, "I don't know. Is it a kind of weapon?" Tu Jiaojiao said, "I think it might be a kind of cultivation method." The Lingwu continent was based on martial arts. There had never been any poems or poets, so they naturally did not know what a poem was. A trace of curiosity rose in Qin Haodong's heart. No matter what, he had to go to the 7th floor to take a look. Seeing that the minute was almost up, he stepped forward and said, "Soaring 90,000 miles. Hearing Qin Haodong's answer, the little she-devil said in surprise, "What is this? What is little brother saying?" The voice said, "Congratulations on answering correctly. You are qualified to enter the 7th floor of the slaughter pagoda." Suddenly, a beam of light shot down and enveloped Qin Haodong. Then, he disappeared from the 6th floor of the slaughter pagoda. The little she-devil exclaimed, "What's going on? Why is little brother gone? Where is he?" Tu Jiaojiao said, "This should be a teleportation formation. No wonder there are no stairs on the 6th floor of the slaughter pagoda. It turns out that we can only reach the 7th floor through the teleportation formation." The little she-devil said, "Then what should we do now?" Murong Jinghong said, "Let's hurry up and recover from our injuries. We'll wait for Haodong to come down from above. Her suggestion was approved by everyone. Qin Haodong had just healed their injuries, but they had not completely recovered. Accidents could happen at any time in the slaughter pagoda. Only improving one's cultivation was the best way. Zhao Xingyue said, "Everyone, hurry up and heal. I'll protect you." Qin Haodong felt his eyes light up. When he regained his vision, he had already arrived at the 7th floor of the slaughter pagoda. This place was much smaller than the other 6 floors. It was only about 20 to 30 square meters, but the spiritual qi was extremely rich, almost 100 times more than outside. This is a really good place. It's definitely several times faster to cultivate here than outside. Qin Haodong sighed. He naturally knew that it was not the time to cultivate, so he began to look around. He looked around and found that there was nothing here. The surrounding walls were bare, and there were no treasures to speak of. "Little guy, don't look around. There are no inferior treasures here." Qin Haodong looked back and saw an old Taoist with white hair and a black robe appear behind him. He couldn't be more familiar with this scene. This was the divine thought left by a senior master. Junior Qin Haodong greets senior Taoist. Being able to come here shows that your strength and temperament are not bad. Huang Long said, "Little guy, are you from Wuxia?" "Yes, I'm from Wuxia." Qin Haodong was slightly stunned at first, and then he said, "Senior, do you know Wuxia too?" The old Taoist smiled and said, "I was originally a cultivator from Wuxia. I left a Tang poem by my old friend Li Bai in the final assessment in order to leave this pagoda to the younger generation from Wuxia." Qin Haodong was overjoyed to hear that Huang Long was also from Wuxia. Since the old Taoist could come here, he must have a way to go back. He quickly asked, "Senior, may I ask how you got here? Is there a way to go back?" Huang Long sighed and said, "When I was training in the past, I accidentally fell into a spatial crack and came to the Lingwu continent in a muddle-headed manner. I don't even know how I came here, so how can I go back? I've cultivated here for 3,000 years, but I haven't found the way back. I have no choice but to ascend to the immortal realm here. I hope I can go back and have a look in my lifetime." Speaking of this, there was a look of regret on his face. Qin Haodong was also disappointed. He had thought that he could find the way home through the old Taoist, but he didn't expect that he would be trapped here for 3,000 years. Although he was disappointed, Huang Long also gave him a little hope. The Tang dynasty was only 1,000 years ago, and the old Taoist had cultivated here for 3,000 years. Although he didn't know when he came to the Lingwu continent, at least the timeline of the two realms was different. If he took the time to cultivate, things would not be the same when he returned. Huang Long continued, "Little guy, since you have passed the assessment I left behind, you are now the owner of the 7th stage pagoda. Compared to this pagoda, those treasured swords and sabers are nothing. They are just low-level treasures that I left behind to attract people here." Qin Haodong's spirit was lifted as he asked, "Taoist, what's the function of this pagoda?" Taoist priest Huang Long said, "The 7th stage pagoda is not an offensive magic treasure. It has 3 main functions. First, there is a spirit gathering array left behind by a senior expert. The spirit qi here is 100 times denser than outside, so it will be easier to cultivate here. Second, once the 7th stage pagoda recognizes you as its owner, the White Bone Army and the illusionary flying ants will listen to your commands. Third, the 7th stage pagoda has a teleportation function. No matter where you are, as long as you want to come back, you can be teleported here immediately." Qin Haodong was overjoyed. These 3 functions were each stronger than the one before, especially the last one. It was simply too powerful. This meant that even if he encountered a stronger enemy in the future, he could hide in the 7th stage pagoda at any time. He said, "Thank you, Taoist. Alright, I don't have much time left. Hurry up and recognize me as your owner." After Huang Long finished speaking, a ball of light rose from the 7th stage pagoda and instantly entered Qin Haodong's Naiwan palace. Qin Haodong felt something in his mind. Following that, he felt a connection with the 7th stage pagoda. Every corner of the pagoda appeared clearly in his mind. He could now completely control the White Bone Army and the illusionary flying ants. He could even control the life and death of everyone else. In other words, this pagoda was his world, and he was the god here. The 7th stage pagoda belongs to you from now on. I'm leaving. After Huang Long finished speaking, the divine thoughts he left behind dissipated into the void. Qin Haodong bowed in the direction Huang Long had left in, then with a thought, he returned to the 6th level. Upon seeing him, the little witch immediately pounced on him. "Little brother, you're back. What good stuff is up there? Is there anything delicious?" Chapter 924. The other women also came over and looked at Qin Haodong with concern. "I knew it would be delicious." He raised his hand and touched the little she-devil's head. Then, he briefly told her about his experience on the 7th floor of the Buddha Tower. The little she-devil's eyes widened and she said excitedly, "Little brother, does that mean you're the owner of this tower now?" Qin Haodong nodded. "That's right. The Buddha Tower was originally a treasure left behind by Huang Long. I was lucky enough to inherit it." Murong Jinghong sighed. "I didn't expect that the Buddha Tower would appear once every 30 years to find an heir." Tu Jiaojiao said, "We even brought the Buddha Tower back for this experience. Should we go out now?" Qin Haodong said, "I'm going to keep the Buddha Tower a secret. I don't want outsiders to know about it. It's too conspicuous if we go out now. Besides, there are many people watching outside. It's not safe for us to go out with our current strength. Everyone, follow me to the 7th floor to cultivate and recover from your injuries. Once the 3 days are up, we'll go out with the others." The others nodded, thinking that this was the best way at the moment. Qin Haodong was now the master of the Buddha Tower. With a thought, he brought the others to the 7th floor. "Wow, such rich spiritual qi. If I cultivate here for a month, I'll definitely be able to break through to the void training stage." Tu Jiaojiao sighed as soon as they entered the 7th floor. Murong Jinghong said, "The Buddha Tower is indeed a treasure. It seems that there's no other place with richer spiritual qi than here except for the Black Tortoise Spirit Pool." Only the little she-devil curled her lips. "So what if the spiritual qi is rich? It's not like we can eat it." Due to special reasons, she couldn't raise her cultivation, so she had no interest in spiritual qi. Qin Haodong said, "Everyone, hurry up and cultivate. We can use the spiritual qi here to recover from our injuries." Murong Jinghong, Yun Shanshan, and the others nodded and sat down to cultivate. They used their spiritual qi to heal the remaining injuries in their bodies. The little she-devil came to Qin Haodong's side. "Little brother, is there anything delicious? I'm hungry." Zhao Xingyue wasn't injured and had no intention of cultivating. She sat around Qin Haodong with the little she-devil. Qin Haodong took out some snacks from the ring and gave them to the two girls. The three of them chatted while eating. He said to Zhao Xingyue, "Since you are the princess of Black Tortoise Kingdom, why did you come to Black Tortoise Institute?" Zhao Xingyue, who had a faint smile on her face, immediately became serious after hearing this question. She sighed and said, "Brother Qin, do you know why I was so timid before?" Qin Haodong said, "I don't know the specific situation, but I guess she must have been stimulated before, so it left a mental barrier in her heart." Zhao Xingyue nodded and said with a lonely face, "When I was 6 years old, I played hide-and-seek with my mother. Who knew that as soon as I hid in the cupboard, a group of men in black came in. They killed the imperial guards, they killed my mother, they killed many people. At that time, there was blood and corpses everywhere. As a 6-year-old child, I was scared to death when I saw this. I didn't dare to make a sound, and it was because of this that I was able to keep my life. But since then, I've been timid. I'm so cowardly that I'm afraid of everything. Although I'm a warrior, I don't have the courage to fight." The little witch said angrily, "What are those men in black doing? They are so bad." Qin Haodong said, "You were in the palace, which was heavily guarded. How could there suddenly be so many assassins?" "The palace is indeed heavily guarded, but there are spies." Zhao Xingyue said, "There is no conclusion to this matter. Although my father was furious, he couldn't find out where those men in black came from. But I know very well that it was my father's concubine, Wu Yuanyang, who sent these killers. Soon after my mother died, she became the queen." Qin Haodong said, "Didn't your father notice it?" Generally speaking, the biggest suspect after an assassination was the one who benefited the most. This woman named Wu Yuanyang should be the biggest suspect. Zhao Xingyue shook her head and said, "No, because that woman is too good at disguising herself. In front of my father, she is a virtuous woman, but in fact, she is as vicious as a snake." The little witch said, "Sister Xingyue, don't be sad. I'll help you get revenge when I see her." Qin Haodong said, "You sneaked from the palace to the Black Tortoise Academy just to hide from that woman?" "Sort of." Zhao Xingyue said, "Wu Yuanyang is a very ambitious woman. She is not satisfied with the throne of the queen." The little witch said angrily, "She is already the queen, but she is still not satisfied. What does she want? Does she want to be the king?" Zhao Xingyue said, "She can't be the king, but she wants her son to be the king. Originally, my father had 3 sons and 2 daughters. Among them, only the second prince, Zhao Yu, is Wu Yuanyang's son. The others were all born by my mother. In order to make Zhao Yu the only heir, she has killed several of my brothers and sisters over the years. Except for Zhao Yu, I am the only one left. Because I am a woman and I am very timid, I am not a threat to her son's status, so I am lucky to live until now." The little witch scolded, "This evil woman is so hateful." Zhao Xingyue said, "Although she didn't kill me, she was worried about leaving me in the palace, so she betrothed me to Chen Rui, the son of Minister Chen Xianling. Chen Xianling is his confidant, and Chen Rui is a bully. Of course, I don't want to marry such a person, so I sneaked out." The little witch said, "Sister Xingyue, are you running away from the marriage?" Zhao Xingyue nodded. Qin Haodong asked, "You were so timid before. How did you suddenly have the courage to run away from the marriage?" "I also prepared for a long time. I was about to be engaged, so I had no choice but to run away. I didn't expect to meet the dragon scale python as soon as I came out. Fortunately, I met Brother Qin and you saved me. Otherwise, I really don't know what to do." Zhao Xingyue said, "Because of my timidity, everyone thought that I didn't dare to run out, so Wu Yuanyang didn't pay too much attention to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had the chance to run away." Qin Haodong said, "She made such a big move. Didn't your father notice it?" Zhao Xingyue said, "Wu Yuanyang is very powerful in Xuanwu Kingdom. Sun Qingdu is her half-brother. His cultivation has reached the Desheng stage and he is known as the first master in the capital. These things were done very secretly, without leaving any flaws. In addition, many people in the palace said good things about her, and this woman is very good at disguising, so father did not suspect anything." Qin Haodong frowned. He still couldn't imagine. As a king, how could he not be suspicious after the death of the queen, prince and princess? The little witch said, "Sister Xingyue, you are so poor. What do you want to do in the future?" Zhao Xingyue's eyes flashed with deep hatred. "I want to kill that woman to avenge my mother and take back what belongs to me." The little witch said sympathetically, "Sister Xingyue, I will help you. How can you fight against her with just the 2 of you?" Qin Haodong said, "It's good to want revenge, but you must have enough strength. Otherwise, you will only die." Zhao Xingyue said sadly, "But I can't wait. My mother died so miserably, my brothers and sisters died so miserably, and I was so cowardly before. Now I feel ashamed when I think about it. No matter what, I have to take revenge as soon as possible, or I will be sorry for my dead mother and brothers and sisters. The little witch took Qin Haodong's arm and said, "Little brother, help Sister Xingyue get revenge. She is so pitiful." Zhao Xingyue looked at Qin Haodong expectantly and said, "Brother Qin, you are so powerful. Can you help me kill that evil woman?" Qin Haodong smiled bitterly. Even if he took the explosive yuan pill, he was only at the form synthesis stage. Her brother was a master at the Deshang stage, who was not someone he could defeat. He said, "I can help you, but you can't rush. We must find the right opportunity. I'll listen to you." Zhao Xingyue nodded and said, "Brother Qin, I really thank you. Not only have you saved me so many times, but it is also because of you that I have regained my courage and am no longer so cowardly. Otherwise, I will always be timid and have no hope of revenge in this life." Qin Haodong said, "What you need to do now is to hurry up and improve your strength. Only when you are strong enough can you have the possibility of revenge." Zhao Xingyue nodded and said, "I understand, Brother Qin." For the next period of time, everyone had been cultivating on the 7th floor of the Buddha Tower. Soon, 3 days had passed. In fact, Qin Haodong had complete control of the Buddha Tower now, so it did not matter if it was not closed. However, he did not want to expose his secret. This time, the Buddha Tower would not appear again after it disappeared. He checked and found that there were thousands of people who had entered the Buddha Tower, but they were all blocked outside the maze. Seeing that it was time to close the tower, those people could only leave regretfully. On the 1st floor of the Buddha Tower, there were thousands of people who were immersed in the illusion, and they had not found their hearts until now. Qin Haodong did not want to kill too many people, so he removed the illusion. These people immediately regained their senses and hurriedly escaped from the Buddha Tower. Seeing that almost everyone had left, Qin Haodong led Zhao Xingyue and the others out of the tower. He was now the controller of the Buddha Tower, so he directly led everyone to the 1st floor. No one noticed that they had come down from above. Everyone left the Buddha Tower. There was a rumble behind them, and the 2 ancient doors of the tower closed and slowly sank into the ground again. Looking at the disappearing Buddha Tower, everyone sighed. This time, only a few people had obtained some treasures after entering the tower for training. Most of them had returned empty-handed. Since the training had ended, these people walked out of the valley together. However, as soon as they arrived at the entrance of the valley, they were immediately stunned by the scene in front of them. Outside the valley, it was completely surrounded by countless soldiers. These soldiers were fully armored and held sharp weapons in their hands, causing the entire valley to be surrounded by a murderous aura. What's going on? Why is this place surrounded by soldiers? This is too strange. This has never happened before. What are they trying to do? Could it be that a big treasure has appeared in the Buddha Tower and the soldiers have been alerted, but we have not heard about it? Just when everyone was confused, an old man wearing a general's uniform soared into the sky. He looked down at the people below him and said, "Everyone, don't be nervous. This old man is the city lord of Pegasus City, Xiahou Hongxiang. What happened today has nothing to do with you. I am looking for Qin Haodong. As long as you hand him over, you can leave safely." Chapter 925. Oh my God, that's General Xiahou Hongxiang, the governor of Pegasus City. Who is this Qin Haodong? It seems that he has angered the governor. He's done for. How ignorant. How dare he offend General Xiahou in Pegasus City? Is he crazy? Everyone began to discuss and look left and right, trying to figure out who Xiahou Hongxiang was looking for. Qin Haodong stood behind the crowd and looked up at Xiahou Hongxiang. Although this guy was at the mid-stage of the form synthesis realm, He could still kill him with one slap if he summoned the three-legged golden toad. But now that the army was here, it seemed that Xiahou Hongxiang had brought at least tens of millions of soldiers. This was not something that a single person could fight against. The little witch said, "That old bastard came to us so quickly. If we go back to Black Tortoise Academy, we don't have to care about him at all." Murong Jinghong said worriedly, "What should we do now? Why don't we kill our way out together?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't act rashly. Let's see what happens first." At this moment, someone suddenly shouted, "General Xiahou, that kid is Qin Haodong." Following the shout, a figure came to Xiahou Hongxiang's side and pointed at Qin Haodong. It was Xue Pan, who had escaped with injuries. Xiahou Hongxiang looked in the direction of his finger. When the others saw that General Xiahou was looking at them, they quickly dodged to the side. Within a radius of 100 meters around Qin Haodong, there was no one else. Only the 6 of them were left standing there. Yun Qianshan said angrily, "Xue Pan, are you still human? How dare you betray your own classmates?" Xue Pan gritted his teeth and said, "I don't care who he is. I must kill this Qin kid today." After he and Xiao Yulong escaped from the pagoda, the two of them came to Pegasus City to take revenge and told Xiahou Hongxiang about Qin Haodong killing Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen. Xiahou Hongxiang was furious. Someone dared to kill his brother and nephew in Pegasus City. This was a slap to his face. He immediately surrounded the entire Stupa mountain with a large number of soldiers. Xiao Yulong had lost an arm and his injuries were too severe. He stayed in Pegasus City to recuperate, while Xue Pan followed him to identify the murderer. He knew very well that Xiahou Hongxiang was extremely cruel, and he wanted to see how Qin Haodong would be tortured to death with his own eyes. Xiahou Hongxiang took a few steps in the void and came to the front of the crowd. He looked at Qin Haodong with a murderous look and said, "Boy, who gave you the courage to touch our Xiahou family?" Xue Pan also shouted, "Qin Haodong, aren't you arrogant? Now that General Xiahou is here, what else do you have to say? Quickly kneel down and admit your guilt, and General Xiahou will leave your corpse intact." Holy sh*t, who the hell is this kid? How dare you lay your hands on a member of the Xiahou family? Are you tired of living? He killed General Xiahou's brother and nephew within the jurisdiction of Pegasus City. How did such a brainless person survive until now? No wonder General Xiahou is so angry. This kid is dead meat. Hearing the discussion around her, the little witch said angrily, "Xue Pan, you're so shameless." Xue Pan smiled coldly, "You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. Even God can't save Qin Haodong today." Xiahou Hongxiang waved his hand at the army behind him, "Shoot all of them into hedgehogs." Although it was Qin Haodong who killed Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen, he didn't care that much. In the eyes of the general, everyone else was an ant. He could kill them with a wave of his hand. "Yes, General." After a loud shout, hundreds of archers quickly gathered and raised the bows in their hands, aiming at the 6 people. These people were not using ordinary bows and arrows like those on Earth, but God-killing arrows that were specially designed to deal with cultivators. If thousands of arrows were fired at the same time, even a cultivator at the form synthesis stage would have to run as far as possible. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly rang out, "Xiahou Hongxiang, who gave you the courage to disrespect this empress?" Although Zhao Xingyue had changed her cowardly personality, she was still used to holding Qin Haodong's arm and standing behind him. At this moment, she stepped forward and faced Xiahou Hongxiang, exuding a noble and dignified royal aura. Xiahou Hongxiang looked in the direction of the voice, and when he saw Zhao Xingyue's face, his expression changed drastically. He quickly shouted, "Stop! All of you, stop!" In the eyes of the others, Qin Haodong and the others were dead for sure, but Xiahou Hongxiang's reaction surprised them. Who was this person? Who could make General Xiahou change his mind so suddenly? Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen were not officials, so they were not qualified to enter Black Tortoise capital city. Naturally, they did not know Zhao Xingyue. But Xiahou Hongxiang was different. Pegasus City was the second largest city in Black Tortoise Kingdom. As the governor of the city, he often went to the palace, so it was impossible that he did not know Princess Xingyue. Although he was Empress Wu Yunyang's man, under the watchful eyes of so many people, even if he was given 100 guts, he would not dare to shoot the princess of the royal family. After withdrawing the archers, he quickly bowed and greeted, subordinate Xiahou Hongxiang greets Princess Xingyue. Princess Xingyue, oh my god, this girl is Princess Xingyue. Why is Princess Xingyue not in the palace? Why did she suddenly come to Stupa Mountain? Princess Xingyue is so beautiful and noble. No wonder General Xiahou stopped the order. She is the most beloved daughter of the king. Xue Pan was dumbfounded, and a chill ran down his spine. He never thought that the trash in their eyes was Princess Xingyue of Black Tortoise Kingdom. Zhao Xingyue did not let Xiahou Hongxiang stand up. Instead, she said with a cold expression, as the governor of Pegasus City, you surrounded this princess with so many soldiers. What is the meaning of this? Are you trying to rebel? Xiahou Hongxiang's forehead immediately broke out in a cold sweat. In the past, this princess was as timid as a mouse and was not good with words. Why was she not like that today? She immediately slammed the hat of rebellion on him. He quickly knelt on the ground and said, Princess, please spare my life. I really didn't know you were here. Otherwise, I would not dare to offend you even if I had 10,000 guts. Princess Xingyue obviously did not want to let him go. She said again, then why did you just point arrows at me? Xiahou Hongxiang said, Princess, just a few days ago, Qin Haodong killed my brother Xiahou Hongfei and my nephew Xiahou Zhen. This time, I came for him. Princess Xingyue said, I know about this. I was at the scene at the time and saw the whole process. Xiahou Hongxiang breathed a sigh of relief and said, in that case, please let me deal with this murderer. Killing your brother and nephew makes him a murderer. I asked them to kill him. Are you going to deal with me as well? Princess Xingyue said sternly, your nephew Xiahou Zhen dared to take me away in public and make me his 13th concubine. Do you think this kind of person should be killed? Your brother Xiahou Hongfei not only allowed his son to commit murder, but also hurt my friend and helped his son. Should this kind of person not be killed? At the end of her words, Zhao Xingyue's whole body exuded a cold murderous aura. The aura of a superior could be seen clearly. How could such a thing happen? Not only did he steal the princess, but he also wanted to be the 13th concubine. This is simply a slap in the face of the royal family of Black Tortoise Kingdom. Stealing the princess as a concubine. This kind of person should not only be killed, but also cut into pieces. As far as I know, according to the law of Black Tortoise Kingdom, I'm afraid that offending a member of the royal family will lead to the execution of 9 generations. Hearing the discussion around him, Xiahou Hongxiang's heart suddenly sank. He knew what kind of person his nephew was. There were simply too many cases of bullying and seducing people. However, in the past, he was the god in Pegasus City. No matter what Xiahou Zhen did, he would not cause any trouble. He never expected that this guy would steal the princess. Xiahou Hongxiang had Wu Yuanyang as his backing. Although he knew that this matter would not implicate him, he still had to go through the necessary formalities in front of everyone. After all, this matter involved the face of the entire Black Tortoise royal family. He repeatedly kowtowed to Princess Xingyue, Princess, please forgive me. This subordinate really did not know. If I did, I would have beheaded that brat on the spot. Zhao Xingyue continued, I came to the territory under the jurisdiction of your Pegasus City. First, I was harassed by your nephew, and now, I am being pointed at with a bow and arrow by you. I will report this matter to my royal father. Xiahou Hongxiang repeatedly said, Princess, please forgive me. Please spare my life. This subordinate really did not know that Princess Xingyue was here. Princess Xingyue grew up in the Black Tortoise Royal Palace. She was extremely intelligent and proficient in the way of commanding her subordinates. It was just that she was too timid to show it before. Seeing that Xiahou Hongxiang was almost suppressed, her tone softened a little. All right, since you did not know about this matter, get up first. Thank you, Your Highness. Xiahou Hongxiang finally got up from the ground. Princess Xingyue asked, did you bring any money? Xiahou Hongxiang said, Your Highness, I came out in a hurry. I only brought some pocket money with me, about 20,000 top-grade spirit stones. As he spoke, he took out a bag of spirit stones from his storage ring and handed it over respectfully. Princess Xingyue took the spirit stones and turned to Qin Haodong, saying, Brother Qin, you killed Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen in order to protect me. You are not only innocent, but also meritorious. These spirit stones are your reward. Qin Haodong smiled slightly. It seemed that it was really good to have a princess as a backer. He knew what the 20,000 top-grade spirit stones represented. It was not as simple as money, but also to prove his reputation. The princess had already said that he had meritorious service, so no one else could say anything about it. He took the spirit stones and said, Thank you, Your Highness. Xiahou Hongxiang lowered his head. Although he still looked extremely respectful, there was a flash of killing intent in his eyes. The guy in front of him had killed his brother and nephew, but he had to give him money as a reward. This was a great shame for him. Xue Pan, who was standing next to him, was completely dumbfounded. He had thought that Qin Haodong would definitely die with the help of a general. However, he did not expect that Qin Haodong had the princess as his backer. Not only did he not suffer any losses, but he also got 20,000 top-grade spirit stones for nothing. He knew that he could not do anything today, so he had to leave quickly before everyone's attention was diverted to him. Just as he was about to sneak away, he heard Princess Xingyue's stern voice, Stop. Xue Pan was so scared that he quickly stopped. He turned around and said with a flattering face, Your Highness, I really didn't know it was you. Please forgive me for offending you in the past. Zhao Xingyue said to Murong Hongxiang, This man once attacked me in the 7th pagoda. If it were not for my friend's protection, I would have been killed by him. How do you think I should convict him? Hearing this, Xue Pan knelt on the ground and begged, Your Highness, I really didn't know your identity before. Please forgive me this time on account that we used to be classmates. Chapter 926. Xue Pan's fart turned cold. If he had known that she was a princess, he wouldn't have dared to cause trouble for her. Zhao Xingyue didn't even look at him. She said to Xiahou Hongxiang, This time, I've been in danger in Pegasus City. You know my father's temper. If I tell him about this, you'll have to think about the consequences yourself. If it was just an offense, she could forgive him. However, he was prepared to kill the person she loved in the pagoda. She couldn't let him go no matter what. Although she didn't mention a word about Xue Pan, it was a death sentence for him. How dare you disrespect the princess? Drag him out and behead him. Xiahou Hongxiang didn't want to defend Xue Pan at all. It was this guy who told him about the incident that caused him to lose face in front of everyone. Now that Zhao Xingyue wanted to avenge Qin Haodong, he also wanted to avenge him. Xue Pan was so scared that he kowtowed like a chicken eating rice. No, General Xiahou, please forgive me this time, but before he could finish, a deputy reached out and grabbed his neck. He dragged him to the side and chopped off his head. Xiahou Hongxiang glared at Xue Pan's corpse and turned to Zhao Xingyue, Your Highness, are you satisfied? Zhao Xingyue nodded, I'll let it go this time. Get out of the way, we're going back to Black Tortoise Academy. Unexpectedly, Xiahou Hongxiang didn't move out of the way. Instead, he said, Your Highness, you can't go. Zhao Xingyue's face darkened. What do you mean? Are you going to arrest me? Your Highness, you must be joking. How could I dare to arrest you? Xiahou Hongxiang said respectfully, you just said that we've run into danger again and again in Pegasus City, which makes me feel very guilty. If something really happens to the princess, I, Xiahou Hongxiang, won't be able to forgive myself even if I die 10,000 times. Zhao Xingyue knew that he was just making excuses. She asked directly, then what do you want? Xiahou Hongxiang said, I want to ask the princess to come back to Pegasus City with me and ask the king to send experts to protect the princess. No. Zhao Xingyue had snuck out. She had no choice but to reveal her identity. Naturally, she did not want to be captured and brought back to the Black Tortoise Palace. You just need to get out of the way. You don't have to worry about anything else. This time, Xiahou Hongxiang did not back down. Instead, he said with determination, Your Highness, in order to protect your safety, I cannot comply. No matter what, I must invite Your Highness to Pegasus City. This, Zhao Xingyue was in a bit of a dilemma. Even though she was extremely intelligent, this Xiahou Hongxiang was also an old fox. His words were dignified and didn't have the slightest flaw, so she really couldn't find a reason to refute him. Helpless, he could only say, all right then. I'll have to trouble General Xiahou. Serving Your Highness is what this subordinate should do. Xiahou Hongxiang said to Qin Haodong and the others, Princess, come with me to Pegasus City. You can leave now. Zhao Xingyue frowned. Right now, Xiahou Hongxiang didn't dare to do anything to Qin Haodong and the others for her sake. However, once they separated, she was afraid that they would immediately be chased by the tens of thousands of soldiers. She said, Xiahou Hongxiang, these are all my friends. They will come with me to the palace to see father. You can't chase them away. The little demon girl, however, did not see through this. She happily said, I've never been to Pegasus City, nor have I been to the palace. Now, I can go play with Sister Xingyue. Xiahou Hongxiang sighed. This Princess Xingyue was much more difficult to deal with than the legend said. Since the princess has given the order, then everyone will come with me. After saying this, he had his subordinates disperse the people present. Then, he took Zhao Xingyue and Qin Haodong to Pegasus City. The tens of thousands of soldiers guarded Zhao Xingyue in the center. Xiahou Hongxiang and his deputy, Jiang Bin, walked at the back of the group. Jiang Bin was Xiahou Hongxiang's closest confidant. He said in a low voice, General, we can't let this go. We must avenge the eldest master and the young master. Xiahou Hongxiang said with a sinister expression, of course. I must cut this Qin brat into pieces. However, now is not the time to do it. Let this brat live for a while longer. When we arrive at Pegasus City, there will be many ways to kill him. The two of them were secretly plotting. On Qin Haodong's side, Tu Jiaojiao said in a low voice, Haodong, I grew up in Pegasus City, so I know a lot about Xiahou Hongxiang. This old thing is sinister, cunning, greedy, and vengeful. He will definitely not let this matter go. When we arrive at Pegasus City, he will definitely cause trouble for you. Murong Jinghong said, yes, he won't dare to do anything with Xingyue by his side. Once we separate, I'm afraid he will kill us. Why don't we find a suitable opportunity to secretly escape? Escape? Do you think we'll be able to escape? Qin Haodong looked around. Xiahou Hongxiang's subordinates had surrounded them. On the surface it was to protect Zhao Xingyue, but in reality, it was to prevent them from escaping. Under the encirclement of tens of thousands of soldiers, even a mosquito would not be able to escape. Tu Jiaojiao said anxiously, then what should we do? There's no rush. We'll take it one step at a time. Although Pegasus City was Xiahou Hongxiang's territory, Qin Haodong did not panic too much. This was because he still had a trump card in his hand, the Seventh Order Pagoda. If he really had no other choice, he could directly teleport himself to the Seventh Order Pagoda. No matter how strong the enemy was, they would not be able to do anything to him. Pegasus City was not too far from Stupa Mountain. The army marched for half a day before a huge city slowly appeared in everyone's line of sight. As expected of the second largest city in Xuanwu Kingdom. From afar, Pegasus City looked magnificent and boundless. It was larger than any ancient city on earth. After entering the city, Xiahou Hongxiang said to Zhao Xingyue, "Your Highness, I should have invited you to my mansion as a guest. Unfortunately, my family doesn't understand etiquette and is too noisy. I'm afraid that it will disturb your Highness. I have a courtyard in Pegasus City that is extremely quiet and elegant. It is suitable for your Highness to rest. What do you think about going there?" Qin Haodong laughed inwardly. Quiet and elegant. This guy is looking for a suitable place to make his move. Zhao Xingyue did not think too much about it. She did not like noise anyway, so she nodded and said, "Sure." Xiahou Hongxiang's face lit up with joy. He brought everyone to a manor in the west of Pegasus City. It was far away from the bustling city and was indeed very quiet. The pavilions were richly ornamented and looked extremely luxurious. "Your Highness, are you satisfied with this place?" Zhao Xingyue said, "It's not bad. Since your Highness is satisfied, you can stay here for now. I'll send someone to send your message to the palace immediately. It is expected that His Majesty will send someone to pick you up soon." Zhao Xingyue nodded. Although she did not want to go back, she had no choice now. Xiahou Hongxiang would not let her leave no matter what. "It's getting late. Your Highness, please take a rest." Xiahou Hongxiang turned back and said to Qin Haodong, "This is where your Highness lives. It is not suitable for men to enter. Please follow me to the courtyard next door to rest." Zhao Xingyue frowned and said, "Brother Qin is my friend. There are many rooms here. Let him stay here." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Your Highness, I can't do that. You live here now. How dare I let other men in? Otherwise, once the princess's reputation is ruined, His Majesty will punish me. Even if I have 10 heads, it will not be enough." His words were so dignified that Zhao Xingyue could not find any reason to refute. Qin Haodong said, "It doesn't matter. We don't live far. I'll come back if something happens." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Yes, Mr. Qin lives next door. It's only a few hundred meters away from here. Your Highness can visit him at any time tomorrow." Zhao Xingyue could not say anything more. Qin Haodong followed Xiahou Hongxiang out of their residence and came to another small courtyard next door. The environment here was also good, but no one else lived here except Qin Haodong. Xiahou Hongxiang said with a fake smile, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. You can stay here for a while." Qin Haodong said, "It doesn't matter. I like quiet." "It's good that you like it." Xiahou Hongxiang turned around after he finished speaking. His expression instantly darkened as he thought to himself, "Brat, tonight will be the day you die." He left and returned to his general's mansion. He asked someone to call Jiang Bin, the deputy general. After entering the door, Jiang Bin said directly, "General, are we going to do something to that boy?" Xiahou Hongxiang said with a gloomy expression, "I've arranged a courtyard for that boy. You can ask someone to kill him tonight. I've already learned that this boy's cultivation is only at the late stage of void training. It's nothing, but he has a very fierce 7th grade magical beast. My brother was killed by that magical beast. So when you ask someone to kill him, you must do a sneak attack. Take him by surprise and kill him directly. Don't give him a chance to summon his magical beast. Don't worry, General. I'll make sure that boy doesn't see tomorrow's sun." Jiang Bin then said, "What about Princess Xingyue and those women? Do you want to kill them as well?" Xiahou Hongxiang waved his hand and said, don't be impulsive. Zhao Xingyue is the princess of the kingdom after all. If something happens to her in our Pegasus City, we won't be able to bear the consequences. I've already reported the news to the queen. We just need to listen to the queen's decision. If the queen asks us to do it, we'll directly kill them on the way. Jiang Bin nodded and said, "Understood, General. I'll go and prepare the men now." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Remember, you must do it cleanly. Don't leave any traces. Please rest assured. I happen to have a pair of killers in my hands. Not only are they high in cultivation, but they are also good at assassination. They have never failed until now. They will definitely kill that boy." Jiang Bin then left the general's mansion confidently. Qin Haodong had nothing to do. After dinner, he lay in bed early. After closing his eyes, the women at home flashed through his mind one by one. Lin Momo, Hu Shaoxian, Nalan Wushuang, Nalan Wuxiao. He wondered how they were doing now. Just as he was immersed in his beautiful memories, he suddenly felt alarmed. His spirit swept out of the room and saw a black shadow appear in the courtyard like a ghost. Qin Haodong thought to himself, "You came so fast. Since you want to play, I'll play with you." Chapter 927. After Jiang Bin returned to his home, he called a pair of assassin hangers-on to his room. These two were called Zhang Hein and Li Gao. They were both famous assassins in Black Tortoise Kingdom. Later, they offended a big shot and hid in Jiang Bin's mansion. After greeting them, Zhang Hein said, "General, what business do you have with the two of us? There's something I need the two of you to do." Jiang Bin explained Qin Haodong's situation to the two of them. Li Gao laughed and said arrogantly, "General, isn't it just killing a brat who stinks of his mother's milk? There's no need for the two of you to do it. I can take care of him by myself." Jiang Bin said, "This is a task given by General Xiahou himself. We can't be careless." "Are you confident?" "I'm 10,000% sure." Li Gao said, "In terms of cultivation, I'm at the peak of void tempering and he's only at the late void tempering stage. In terms of killing methods, he was still wearing diapers when I killed him." Zhang Heng added, "That's right, General. The two of us have been practicing the art of assassination. Back then, when we roamed the martial world, we even assassinated many form synthesis experts. Until now, we have never failed." Jiang Bin said hesitantly, "I think it's better if the two of you work together. After all, that brat can summon a 7th-rank magical beast. He's very powerful." Li Gao said proudly, "General, you're overthinking it. Us two brothers are famous in the world of assassins. If we work together to kill a brat like this, it'll be too shameful. Moreover, in front of us, he won't even have the chance to summon a magical beast." Zhang Heng said, "General, I think so too. To kill a person like this, only one of us brothers needs to go." Seeing the confidence of the two brothers, coupled with their lives, Jiang Bin didn't say anything more. He said to Li Gao, "All right, I'll trouble you." Li Gao said, "Don't worry, General. Just sit here and drink tea with my brother. I'll bring that brat's head to you in a pot of tea." With that, he strode out of the room and rushed towards the courtyard. According to Jiang Bin's instructions, he sneaked into the small yard where Qin Haodong lived. This guy wasn't completely bragging. He was indeed proficient in the art of assassination. He hid his body in the night extremely well, and he was as light as a weightless ghost. If it weren't for Qin Haodong's extremely powerful spirit, it would have been difficult for him to find out that this guy was here. The Lingwu continent was not like Earth, where windows did not have glass. Li Gao sneaked up to the window, found a crack, and looked inside. Seeing that the person inside was sleeping on the bed, he pierced the window lattice paper and slowly put a bamboo tube in. Then, with a puff, a thick yellow smoke slowly spread into the room. The corner of his mouth curled into a complacent smile. This yellow smoke was his secret knockout drug. It could even knock out a Class 7 magical beast. At this point, the only thing left was to enter the house and chop off someone's head. After observing for a while and seeing that there was still no movement in the room, he opened the window and jumped in. Qin Haodong was still lying on the bed, snoring loudly. It was quiet all around. Li Gao pulled out the dagger on his back and walked toward the bed. In his opinion, as long as he raised the dagger, the mission would be completed. But just as he took a few steps, he suddenly felt the world spin around him. Then, he couldn't use any strength in his limbs and fell to the ground with a plop. The dagger also fell out of his hand. What's going on? Li Gao turned pale with fright. This was clearly a symptom of being drugged, but he had already taken the antidote, so he was completely immune to his knockout drug. At this moment, Qin Haodong, who was lying on the bed, suddenly sat up. He looked at him with a smile and said, "How is it? The effect of my personally made immortal drunk is pretty good, right?" Giving him a taste of his own medicine, when Li Gao released the bewildering smoke, he also released the immortal intoxication he had refined himself. The difference was that Li Gao didn't have Qin Haodong's immunity. As soon as he entered the room, he was poisoned by the immortal drunk and couldn't use any strength. You, Li Gao stammered for a long time, but couldn't say a complete sentence. His knockout drug didn't work, but he was knocked out by someone else. He had been an assassin for so many years, but this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Qin Haodong said, "Tell me who sent you, and maybe I can let you live." Li Gao closed his eyes. As an assassin, he wouldn't betray his employer. Moreover, Jiang Bin was Xiahou Hongxiang's trusted aide. If he betrayed him in Heavenly Horse City, the only result would be death. Qin Haodong had only asked casually. Even if this guy didn't say anything, he knew who sent him. He directly sealed Li Gao's acupuncture points and threw him under the bed. He knew that Xiahou Hongxiang would send more people, so he didn't sleep. He got up and lit the lights again. Then, he brewed a pot of tea and sat in front of the table to enjoy it. Jiang Bin and Zhang Heng waited in the room for a long time. The second pot of tea had already been drunk, but there was still no sign of Li Gao. Did something happen? Jiang Bin asked worriedly. Zhang Heng was also a bit confused. Logically speaking, Li Gao should have returned by now. "General, don't worry. I'll go take a look. I'll definitely cut off that brat's head." After saying this, he left the room and rushed in the direction of the courtyard. Zhang Heng came to Qin Haodong's window and peeked. There was no sign of Li Gao. Only Qin Haodong was sitting there drinking tea. What happened? Where did that brat Li Gao run off to? He was very confused, but now was not the time to look for him. The most important thing was to complete the mission General Xiahou gave him. At this time, Qin Haodong stretched his back and yawned. He said to himself, "I'm really tired. Time to sleep." After saying this, he walked to the bed and laid down. Soon, the sound of sound sleep could be heard. Zhang Heng waited a little longer. Then, he pierced through the paper window and stuck a small bamboo tube in, blowing out yellow smoke. He and Li Gao were originally partners, so their methods were exactly the same. After waiting for a little while, he felt that the medicine had taken effect. He jumped into the room from the window and walked towards Qin Haodong with the ghost head broadsword in his hand. He walked all the way to the bed, but Qin Haodong still did not move. He lay on the bed, snoring like thunder. "Brat, go to hell." Zhang Heng raised the broadsword and chopped off Qin Haodong's head. Then, he grabbed his hair and turned to jump out of the window. General's mission is a bit too simple. Zhang Heng felt a burst of joy in his heart. He had completed Jiang Bin's mission. This time, there would definitely be a lot of rewards. Not far away, he saw a bush on the side. He raised his hand and threw the head in, then quickly returned to Jiang Bin's house. Jiang Bin paced back and forth in the room, waiting anxiously. The door opened and Zhang Heng walked in. He asked anxiously, "How did it go?" Zhang Heng said proudly, "General, don't worry. I just chopped off that brat's head. He can't be more dead." "Is it really that easy?" Jiang Bin asked in disbelief, "Are you sure you killed Qin Haodong?" Zhang Heng said confidently, "Of course. I saw him lying on the bed with my own eyes. Then, I cut off his head with a broadsword. I just didn't think it was good to bring the bloody thing back, so I threw it into the bush on the side of the road. If you don't believe me, I can go and bring the head back now." Jiang Bin waved his hand and said, "No need. It's fine as long as you're sure it's done." He was also very happy to have completed Xiahou Hongxiang's mission. Then, he thought of Li Gao and asked, "Where is Li Gao? Where did he go?" Zhang Heng said, "I'm not sure. I didn't see Li Gao along the way. I guess he'll be back tomorrow morning." Whether it was Zhang Heng or Li Gao, they were just dogs raised by Jiang Bin, so he didn't care. He said, "Well, go back and rest. There will be a big reward tomorrow." "Thank you, General." Zhang Heng went back to rest happily. The next morning, Jiang Bin came to Xiahou Hongxiang's house early. After seeing him, Xiahou Hongxiang immediately asked, "How did it go?" Jiang Bin said, "It went very well. The boy's head has been cut off. Good job. The boy finally got what he deserved." Xiahou Hongxiang said, gnashing his teeth. "Brother, nephew, I've avenged you." After that, he took Jiang Bin to the yard to greet Princess Xingyue. Anyway, Zhao Xingyue was the princess of Xuanwu Kingdom, so he had to show basic courtesy. After entering the door, he greeted Zhao Xingyue and then chatted for a while. At this time, the little she-devil came in and said, "Sister Xingyue, breakfast is ready. Let's eat." Zhao Xingyue said, "Go and ask Brother Qin to come here. Let's eat together." "I'll go now." The little she-devil answered and skipped out of the room. Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin both sneered and thought to themselves, "If you want to ask Qin Haodong to eat, you can go to hell." Fearing that Princess Xingyue would be suspicious when she found out that Qin Haodong had lost his head, Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Since the princess wants to eat, we'll leave first." He and Jiang Bin turned to leave, but before they reached the door, they saw Qin Haodong coming in from outside. This, both of them were shocked. Then Xiahou Hongxiang glared at Jiang Bin. Didn't they say that Qin Haodong's head had been cut off? Why was he still fine? Jiang Bin was also puzzled. Zhang Heng was very sure that Qin Haodong's head had been cut off, but it seemed that the situation was not like that at all. Seeing their stunned expressions, Qin Haodong said with a playful expression, "What's wrong? General Xiahou, don't you recognize me after one night?" Last night, he had noticed Zhang Heng's arrival. When he cut off Li Gao's head, he directly used the Chiman transposition skill to switch places with Li Gao under the bed. Therefore, Zhang Heng cut off Li Gao's head, and he was unscathed. Xiahou Hongxiang was also an old fox. He quickly regained his composure and said with a smile, "Nothing. I just didn't expect that Mr. Qin would come just as we were about to leave." Then he hurried out of the yard with Jiang Bin. As soon as he went out, he asked angrily, "What the hell is going on?" Jiang Bin said, "Zhang Heng said that Qin Haodong's head had been cut off. I'll go back and ask him what happened." Zhang Heng got up in the morning and was thinking about how Jiang Bin would reward him. Suddenly, Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin walked in angrily. This lowly one greets the two generals. Before he could finish, Jiang Bin slapped him in the face. "Bastard, didn't you say that Qin Haodong was dead? Why is he still alive? Why is he still alive?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.